So who wants to do the Andrew? Who wants to be the Andrew tonight? All right, mate. Just give me 1 sec. All right, I'm gonna swap over now. Okay. All right. Okay. We're on.
Hey. Welcome everybody back to episode 999. Wait, that's too many fingers. Episode 999 of the This Is Not a Toy Stream, where a group of us rather toy-oriented humans sit around and work on toys in various types on platforms and talk trash and good things and shops and also about random things. You may have noticed something slightly different this week, and that is that we are without our Yes, No, Maybe Beats friends, so you're going to have to catch up on the Yes, No, Maybe Beats stream later. Sorry about that, but hopefully you will be watching this later, and you'll be hearing me talking right now. We, as usual, try and have a special guest star on the show. Originally, our special guest was Mr. Nick, but Mr. Nick has kind of turned into a bit more of a regular on the show. We have some people back. We have some guests this week. We have some of our usual suspects kicking around the hood, and we're very excited to be here to talk about all kinds of great things that are happening in our community with our particular choice. We are going to go around the circle and introduce yourselves and tell you what we are doing tonight. Start with Mr. Nick. Who are you?
Hi.
What are you doing tonight?
Tonight, I'm doing a few different
I
things.
don't know. It could just be honest.
I did a bit of casting experimentation this week because my resins were getting old, and I was fearing the longevity of them, as you can see. And so something I'm doing tonight is creating a wing for my character. This is her. She's a little bat creature, bat woman, and I'm just drawing a wing right now, which I'll then cut out of this wall patch metal sheet that I will then bend and put epoxy sculpt over, and then
Nice.
yeah, just so that it's nice and flat and rigid, and I can sand it. And other than that, I did I did a little bit of casting this week because I'm not experienced with that, and I'm trying to make all the mistakes now. So
it looked good, man. I saw it. It looked great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the resin's actually not like there's no problems. It's coming out normal. So. And the venting, that was an interesting venting project. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's all. Nice to see you again.
Very exciting. And then, going around in the circle from my perspective, and I'm not sure if that's going to be the perspective that's shared by everybody else, but we are going to introduce everyone's favorite toy mashup, original toy, original sculptor, original aficionado of everything that you like to see in the world, and remaker of old toys, brand new maker of new toys, king among toys.
Who is this now?
Who will die with the most toys, I guarantee you, Mr. GGNW Chipta.
He sounds amazing.
Who are you? What are you doing here tonight?
Oh my god! I was talking about. Okay, well, I wasn't prepared for that. Hey everybody, it's Chipta from GGNW Toys, aka Good Guys Never Win. We're in the studio for the first time, so I can show off our fancy new machine.
Oh yeah! Are you going to play with it tonight?
Mold machine. Yeah, no, I don't think we'll be playing with it tonight because I took away the mold from the setup.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys? Oh my god, have you guys lost me?
No, still got you. Your video's not the greatest, but we got you. I mean, you're a big pixelated mess, but
okay, there we are.
You're still beautiful.
Yeah. Can you see this action, this hand action, this pumping action I'm doing?
Oh, I can see the pump.
Yes.
That's that. Today, I mean, not today, but the other day I picked up a giant box of Playmobil for like $75.
Oh,
And
really?
it came with everything from dinosaurs to airplanes to like, so, yeah, I got everything, man. Look at this giant box of just caves and trees
just
and stuff.
Playmobil.
And there's like a giant box of just accessories and things. Yeah, just all Playmobil accessories. So
How do you
yeah, it's
find
great. And I
these
picked up this
things?
awesome airplane in it as well. This was one of the This is the Playmobil Airplane. It's like gigantic.
How do you find these things?
So
I'll take
cool.
your word for it.
And
it's like three.
I customized the inside of it to fit
Of course you do.
a whole lot of dudes. So, because Playmobil dudes are way small. They have very small legs. But now, like, it takes everybody in there. The other news is that I've been recasting the land speeder that you guys have seen me doing in the past. But
Yeah,
I
more.
messed up the mixing of the silicon because I'm using the solid solution silicon.
It didn't. It
And
didn't
instead
set
of using, it's still not set. Yeah, it's been 2 days now.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's getting gluggy, so I think it's still reacting. I might give it one more day, but if it doesn't
Might.
work, then I might have to take it apart and wash the whole thing. The last thing that I've got to report is that I've finally put together my R2 Detols. So these are for one of the upcoming shows. These are the little
Oh yeah.
Detol R2D2s that I've been preparing. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. And today, what I'll be working on is I'll probably be packaging some stuff.
I'm testing Chipter. I'm testing that silicon probably tonight, so I'll let you know how mine goes. And if it's maybe it could be a catalyst problem.
Yeah.
But I do have like those 3 bottles of catalyst here, so yeah, that sucks, man.
I'm very disappointed with it.
Yeah.
My little report for Solid Solutions is that I'm very disappointed with it, and also the resin itself. When I used some of the resin, it didn't solidify opaque. It's a little bit see-through, and I'm not very happy with that because that means it might be sweating. So I'm a bit
And you're doing
worried.
50, and that was 50-50?
Yeah. Exactly 50-50. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna have to test that.
with my experience of Barnes EasyCast. Yeah, test it out.
Yeah, I will. Did you stir it? But you were saying it was a
Yep,
little dark,
did everything.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
very dark, very dark.
All right.
I'll
I'll test it.
Slow introduction. It's a long roll thing. It is the slow introduction. It is a fun time. But we'll get a little bit more into shop talk soon. We are going around the screen from my perspective now, going to talk about the wonderful host of tonight's fantastic stream. And please meet Ear Country Toys. You probably know them because you're here watching their stream. But if you don't for the first time and you're here, please introduce yourself to Factor of Ear Country Toys. What do you do?
Hi, everybody. I'm Factor, Irakanji Toys. I make weird toys and I make YouTube videos and stuff like that. So tonight, I don't know, I'm kind of stuck between 2 things. So I'm still working on the land speeder. Shit, things are falling off it. So I'm still working on it. I've got the sales and stuff on. I feel like I should really be working on stuff for the exhibition that's coming up sooner than this exhibition. But I'm enjoying this too much. And the other thing that I'm doing, well, what I'm actually doing right now is I'm going to make a mold. So I may encounter problems apparently. And I'm just doing a little thing for my buddy Quicks to play around with this a little bit. So I'm just making a cast of this at the moment. Just doing some tests and stuff for him. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on tonight.
Cool. And then next in line, according to me, we have a person who is also sharing the screen with Chipta, who is called Liam, and who is also, I can't see your logo on the screen, so please introduce yourself, tell me who you are, why are you here, and what are you working on tonight?
Wow, okay, so everybody's being... Wow. Okay. So every day has been a bit much in the studio. Cool stuff, which is real bad stuff. But
That
so
doesn't sound
yeah,
good.
just cooling down from that really. I can't really go into the thing that happened in here. That was really bad.
You had a bad
Kind of shook
experience.
us all. But
What are
yeah.
you going to work on tonight, man?
No, right now I'm running. Right now I'm running triage on some posters I did today. I didn't pass the spelling test.
Dyslexic.
And I misspelt the name of our sponsor for the Land Speeder Project show. So,
I didn't notice it either.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
none of us noticed that.
The thing is, I noticed it was misspelled before.
He spelt it low
Oh
boobs.
no.
I know, originally it was Lobobos, and then I'm like, oh, that's wrong. I ripped one of the O's and didn't realize I left it as Lobobs.
Low bombs collectibles.
That's
The
kind of
hilarious thing is
So
that the
I'm
logo
picking
is
that
on the bottom of the poster there, correctly spelt.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
because the logo's just...
Icon indicating who the sponsor is.
Yeah, the logo is a really bad rip off their Facebook page.
Man, your internet is really bad.
Okay. No, it doesn't. I gotta go step and rip off processing and stuff to fix it. So that's what I'm doing. So other than that, okay. Yeah, internet's really bad in the studio stuff, but other than that, I'm
seems
gonna
to
be
be.
working on my Skeleton Bandit toy. This is the prototype one, and then I've got if this thing opens, we've got five of these boys to clean up. So if dealing with all this Photoshop stuff doesn't kill me, that's what I'll be doing. Anyways, that's for me.
Yeah, good times, good times. And then next in line, around from where I am talking about, we have a man who does all kinds of cuckoo creations and is the poster child of the upcoming Speeder project with their Rat Think Rod Land Speeder on the front cover. It's very, very cool, and we're all very excited to see it. Mr. K.O. Toys, who are you? What are you doing here? And what are you working on tonight?
There he is.
Oh, boy.
Wow, he's looking amazing, man.
Yeah, so he's pretty much done. He just needs to be like a lot more secured. So he's a little bit too fragile for my liking for a toy. I think if you dropped him, he would definitely sort of fall out and break. So he just needs a bit more strengthening. I'm just going to put some Araldite and stuff around in the seat here and everything and fix him up. But pretty much that's it. Yeah, he's done. I had so much fun doing this. I think I might have time to do another one if we can get if we can get the molds done correctly. Then I wouldn't mind doing another one because I spent a lot of time and had a lot of fun doing that. But apart from that, one of the good things about relocating to my workshop to do these streams is that I can actually paint in here. So I've got my airbrush happening, so I can do some of that tonight. Just let me know if you can hear it through the stream or anything like that. And also, it's past her bedtime, but the other artist that's in the exhibition sculpted this the other day, which is a blue. Hang on, I got to get it right. It's a. What did you call it before? A Slimosaurus. Okay.
This looks like a little dinosaur. I was going to say it's got little spikes on it.
Yeah, so we're gonna mold that up and do that in some clear, some fluoro clear colors and paint little eyes and maybe put Google eyes on it and stuff. I don't know yet, but we'll see. But that'll go nicely with her That'll go nicely with the rest of her slime animals in her collection. And we just got a message there pop up. Did anyone see that?
No,
Yeah.
what did it say?
It said, I can only see flesh on the stream. It was from
Oh
it
no, that
from
was me.
Jess.
Sorry, I was trying to be really subtle, but obviously
sorry.
that didn't work.
Oh,
All it is that I can see everybody else's video, but I can't see Fletcher's video. But on the
Oh,
live stream, I
in
can see the
Skype?
video. Yeah, in Skype. Like I can't see your
Yeah,
video. I can see it on the live stream.
Yeah, it might be routing differently. Because
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just that if you actually like hold something up to the screen, I actually will only be able to pretend that I can see it.
I can turn it off.
Or I'll see like a really delayed version on the live stream.
Yeah, I swapped my camera off, so it might have yeah, sorry. Yeah, Andrew hates it when I do that.
Oh no, it's okay. It's good. Like, because I was trying to go. I don't know if I should bring this up like on the live stream. Like...
Oh no, this is definitely the place to bring up all the technical issues. Absolutely, it's our thing.
I thought I was being really subtle and like ninja-like by putting it in the message chat.
That was totally my fault.
Nice one, AJ.
Who was that weird message from?
Sorry.
Could be from anyone, man. Could be from anyone at all. And finally, me, myself, and I, or second finally, obviously I'm saving the best for last, and the guest for last, but I am Herbert Peppard, I am Cephalopede, I also run Tabletop Dynasties, which is a tabletop role-playing game YouTube channel, and also gearing up for a live play that's going to be happening, a free-to-play online tabletop role-playing convention through the Australian role-playing community. But if you look up Goblins of Zarth or Tabletop Dynasties online, or even probably through Cephalopede, which is on several platforms, you will find where to go to play some cool free RPGs that I have written in a world that I have written with lots of full of goblins.
Lots of goblins.
Associated with that, I've been making some dice charms, which I've done on this channel, and over the last 2 weeks, so last week, I was working on my little Skelly Boy Dice Guardian, who stands in the way of other people's dangerous dice from attacking your precious dice towers, on top of which stand the little dice charms, and the week before I made this Mineko Neko Lucky Cat with a little D20. That one is, what I'm doing today is I am getting on to finishing both of these because they both just need some smoothing and polishing, because I really want to get them in the mold and get them online in time for Halloween. Also, I want to make another dice charm before Halloween, so I want to get these guys finished. I want to make a little pumpkin head jack-o'-lantern dice charm for an exclusive Halloween release around everything. And with a little under a week left to go, I need to get cracking and get that out in the next few days. But I want to get these ones.
Is that why you started toys? Because you like made miniatures for your tabletops?
I started making toys because I didn't have money. We talked about this a couple of streams ago, but we didn't have a lot of money for toys when we first moved to Sydney. And we immigrated from Canada and or Japan, depending on how you want to look at it. But we immigrated directly from Japan via Canada. But we could afford plasticine, so I made a lot of my own toys when I was younger.
Oh,
And then
cool.
I got heaps into G.I. Joes, and then eventually I discovered Choose Your Own Adventure books back in the 80s, and started running games out of those. And then people introduced me to things like Cyberpunk and Dungeons and Dragons and
Got you.
systems. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I got into them and into wargaming, and then I started, making my own miniatures. And I cannibalized way too many of my old toys to make wargaming things when I was about 9 to 13 years old. And then it wasn't until I was I think 19 and I got way back into toys again and realized, what have I done to all of my toys?
You played with them like you were supposed to.
Uh-huh. Well, I kind of played with them, but in completely reconfigured and different forms. But enough about me. I think what's on the tip of everyone's tongue, and we're all really burning to know, is who the heck is this Jessica Emmett person who we have on our stream? Well, let me tell you that I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to let them introduce all about themselves and why they're on the stream, what they do generally, and what they're doing tonight, and where we can find them on the World Wide Web.
Oh wow, I might forget all that. No, so okay, so hi, I'm Jessica Emmett, and I'm a designer, toy maker, and illustrator. I'm from the UK, but I'm currently based in Singapore. So I've been here for about 6.5 years. So I really love it here. And basically, the reason I know about you guys is because I met Fletch, and I actually remember it very, very clearly. I was boothing at STGCC. And actually, like, he came up and he was like, "Oh, I follow you on Instagram." And I was like, the problem is that, like, a lot of people on Instagram don't necessarily put their face on there regularly. So sometimes I'm like, I literally have no idea who. If someone says that, I literally have to get them to pull out their Instagram and tell me, like, to show me their Instagram, because I'm more likely to know from their pictures online than what they look like in person. So I was just like,
what is the SSGC?
Oh, STGCC, and it's now called Singapore Comic Con, but it used to be called Singapore Toys.
Games
and Comics. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So
it was a mouthful, wasn't it?
So they dropped the T, which is very sad, but it doesn't mean that they don't do toys anymore. But like, obviously, it's under the Comic Con brand now. So like, yeah. So like, they swapped that back in. I think they changed to that in 2019. But yeah, so I think wasn't it 2018 that I saw you, or was it the year before that? Yeah. But like, so I remember you coming very clearly up to the booth, and you were like, I kind of follow you on Instagram. And I was like, who are you? And then as soon as you said you were Fletch, well, I actually know you as Factor, and only realized that your name was Fletch very recently because you asked me to come on here. I was like, so like, that's another thing about the internet. You obviously know people by their handle. So, and I was just like, oh, I follow you. You're the street artist. So I actually didn't know your work from my Instagram. So, but it's been nice. It was nice to actually see your face. And then I was actually shocked to find out that he wanted to do toys. That was like really random because I just thought he was a street artist. So like, when he suddenly was like, oh, I'm going to start doing toys, I was like, oh, that's epic. Like, yes, do it.
Yeah, it was just when I'd started out. Like, I think it was earlier than 2018. It might have been 16.
Was it? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any on your Instagram.
No, because I wasn't really posting anything up at that stage because I wasn't making very good toys.
Oh no! Oh man, we all have to start somewhere.
But I still have, like, I got one of my favorite toys there. It was the little skeleton unicorn.
Oh, did you buy one of those? Oh, you're very lucky.
Yeah.
They're so in demand, seriously. Whenever I make them, they always sell.
It's in my toy cabinet inside, next to my Boba Fett. So.
Wow! I feel very honoured. Oh no, that's awesome. Because sometimes like I don't always remember where they end up. So like, it's really cool. Like when someone tells me they actually have one, I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Like I couldn't remember, but that's really cool. But like, yeah. So that's how I ended up finding out about you guys. And Fletch just kind of like messaged me like about a month or so ago. It was like, hey, we have this kind of stream thing, like a bunch of us get together, and then he just sent me a bunch of links. And so like I did spend a few days watching you guys, a little bit, not all of them, but in the background. I put them on in the background, so that's how I found out about you guys. And I think it's really great that you guys have kind of come together to like build something. Like I think that's how so many art things happen. A bunch of like-minded people come together, and I was really fascinated by that. So, and also I can't believe that I didn't know that many of you from Australia. So I realized when Fletch told me, and I looked, I was like, how come this is like news to me? Like,
that's the whole point. That's the whole point, right?
We
didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but that's really great. And so like the more I watched and the more I found out about you guys, I was like, oh, I'm definitely in. I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit more and see what you guys are about. And I think it's fantastic you guys share essentially your art jam, but publicly. So like, it's pretty cool. So
it's a good motivational.
Yeah, we are hoping soon that we can do it in person again. But yeah.
But I mean, I will admit though, when Fletch did propose this, I was a bit freaked out because I don't normally because you guys seem very comfortable with working in public and in front of each other. That's not something that I do at all. So even friends in Singapore have asked me to do art jams in the past, and I've said no because I don't really like it. I don't often draw or do anything in public that often. Like I get very nervous. So when he proposed that I would come on and actually do live things, I was like, not sure about that. But all you guys are doing physical things, but I decided that I would actually try and do some sculpting because I'm kind of learning that at the moment. So I do some 3D sculpting in ZBrush.
Cool.
So I'll swap over to that now. But I'm sorry. I know it's not as exciting as physical stuff. I just didn't really have that many things. But I do have a background. I do have a backup project if you guys are desperate for me to do something physical. But this way also because because it's October, a lot of artists do a daily challenge. So I've been doing daily sculpting, 3D sculpting. So this actually might be quite good to do it at the same time. So
honestly, it's all legit art form to us. It doesn't matter whether we're doing physical or digital.
Right. Okay.
It's absolutely
cool, then.
all legitimate.
Yeah, because I mean the thing is I learned how to do digital 3D sculpting really recently because more and more things are just requiring 3D. So
we had chat about this the other day, right? And I was so envious that I need to do what you did and just sit there and take the time and do it because you were just doing it on just going through YouTube tutorials and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, they have a bunch of their own tutorials themselves, and I tell you, it just because I started in Nomad Sculpt and that's on tap on devices, so I do it on my iPad. It was so easy to get into, but it took a while to get my head around it, a few months. So I was on that for a few months, and then I decided that there was a bunch of projects coming up that I definitely needed to learn, and if I didn't, I'd be in right trouble essentially. Because it's
ZBrush over Nomad.
Sorry.
As in learn ZBrush over Nomad Sculpt.
Yeah, so I needed to, because Nomad you can do pretty good sculpting in it, but I think from a professional level you need to kind of take it into a more professional program to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine. I've done one of my toys is from a 3D sculpt that I did in Nomad, but when I sent it to my printer, he was kind enough to slightly alter it enough for printing. Does that make sense? So he had to thicken some areas and stuff like that, and so he didn't change too much of it. But I think that I just needed to learn that extra step because it's I needed more professional tools to go forwards, basically. So,
well, Liam, you do a bit of digital sculpting. You did. Oh well, you've dabbled in it.
Liam?
So, my laptop is totally screwing up. What's up?
Have you dabbled in digital sculpting, or was
We're talking...
Yeah. It's alright. Technical issues.
I have been digital sculpting. Yeah.
What do you use? You were using Blender, right?
Between eating and I use Blender. Yeah, Blender.
I mean, loads of people use Blender.
I feel like there's tons of stuff I'm missing out in Blender. Either I don't know where the tools are or they're not there because I keep seeing people make things that look so smooth. And
I think that's
everything
that's
I do
what
kind of
intimidates
looks like
me.
it's smashed and panel beaten. But I think I'm turning that into my my look. You know what I mean? I'm rolling into it. So.
Well, that's what intimidates me about ZBrush.
I don't know.
I take one look at ZBrush and I go,
I get you.
Intimidating.
I do nearly all of my stuff in Blender as well. So I do nearly everything digital sculpting. And I'll print it out.
Yeah, I don't know how
I'll print it out on one of these guys.
You purely do digital sculpting, don't you? Well, not purely, but a lot of it, right? Pretty much a lot of your pieces. The peacock was digital sculpted, right?
Yeah. So most of my stuff, a lot of the stuff that I was doing the last couple of years was real with straight lines and sharp corners, and it's just so you really can only do that with digital sculpting. But after it comes off my 3D printer there, like there's still so much physical work to do.
Oh yeah, totally.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So I was going to ask you, Jessica. Like you say, like, what's your process after you've digital sculpt something? Because for me, that's like a very small part of the overall process. There's after I've done that, there's sanding, and then there's molding, casting, painting, all that stuff.
I mean, honestly, I'm really new to digital sculpting. Like, I literally just learned, started at the end of last year, and I've only just kind of picked it up. So I don't actually have a digital printer myself. So unfortunately, I can't take credit for any of the 3D prints that I do. But I know the principle behind it. You know, I know that it sounds like a right pain, like every stage of design and toy making. So I just give that stage to someone else, like for.
That's making toys in general, right?
Yes, exactly. Every stage has its ups and downs. So, but like the last one that I did. So I've only done one digital print so far, because basically I've learnt, and before it was just because I really wanted to try doing a mold from a digital print, but now I've got the problem of that I'm cranking out so many digital sculpts that like now I can't pick which one to do.
You're gonna have to get a printer, mate.
Yeah, I know, but everyone says that. I mean, I'll probably eventually get a printer, but for now, also, I think it might be good to not get one, because if I'm just printing out everything, it'll first of all, it'll cost me a fortune, and second of all, like, I also, like, even though I'd love to have a physical copy of everything that I sculpt, at the same time, I'm going to end up, like, never making anything into production, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Someone's gonna come into your apartment one day and just find you under a mountain of 3D printed toys.
I mean that wouldn't be far from the truth, probably.
Hey,
Jessica. I couldn't choose which one I wanted to make.
Well, I mean, the problem is that like I used to use social media as a kind of like barometer of what maybe people might be into. Does that make sense? So like, but the problem I'm having at the moment is that there's a few comments on every single thing I'm doing. So I literally, everyone's like, you should make that into a toy. And I'm like, I've lost track of like which one I should do now.
Maybe you need a spreadsheet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just that I've got to a point now where I really just have to edit it and just decide. And like, I have to, it's almost like I have to make a business choice. I know that, you know, a lot of people might not think about it, but pretty much I've got to a point now in my career that if I don't make a good business choice, I could be spending a lot of time doing something that like, and then like I'd go through the whole production and be like, actually I'm not feeling this one. Does that make sense? So I, like in some ways it's good to edit myself because I need to go with the one that I really believe in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's your creative background, Jessica?
Okay, so it's okay, I'll try and keep it short, but basically I started in photography and film. So actually I didn't really do much physical kind of work in this way. And then I guess I did it in school, so like A level, like when I was a teenager. But when I was a teenager, I was really into like doing dragons and fantasy art and stuff. And when I went into my art foundation, which is the year you have to do before you go to university for art, my tutor pulled me aside and said that fantasy art wasn't real art, and I really took it to heart. So like I basically like I was like, oh man, but I really want to be an artist. So like I was like, oh okay, I guess I better do some serious stuff now. So I did for like a decade after that. So I went to university to do photography and then a bit of film and stuff. And then after I left, I was kind of doing like contemporary kind of conceptual work. And so the one thing I will thank university for is they gave me like a conceptual background. So like when I do work, I think a lot of the theme, I think about why I'm making toys, not just like what I'm making. So like, I then basically went
total
on
opposite to me.
Oh really?
I don't think when I'm making anything. Yeah.
Well, no, No. I'm not saying that is the correct way. There's no one way to be an artist. There's definitely not. I'd never say that. Like, it just, for me, I like to put meaning into my work. But there is also something to be said about, you know, the art of experimenting and the art of just like seeing how things turn out. I don't think there is one way to create. So I didn't mean
absolutely
to
not
sound like that. I'm saying that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, no, it's more like it's a running thing where, you know, between all of us, we all have such absolutely different processes for how we do things. It's crazy and it's awesome.
And not just actual physical processes, but analytical processes, motivations, reasons, and thought processes behind the work that we're making. Like, you know,
beautiful.
I like, for example, for me, like coming obviously from a gaming background, and then moving through fine arts, much like you, I didn't have a clever person sort of take me aside and say, hey, you know, don't do this, that's lowbrow. But I did have enough other people in my life who were real artists who were talking about real art, or professional practicing artists.
Real art.
Real art.
Got the idea, got the impression that, oh, this is the difference between what's considered art and what's not considered art. And that was like very much the case until the lowbrow movement sort of rose up on the back of a lot of like skateboard art and things like that to make, you know, a whole new world. And also, you know, the whole ignorant art of Basquiat in the 60s. And I think that a lot of even art teachers, they don't see that. They kind of just see the world as it is in their mind, and they freeze kind of in a place in time, and they don't sort of roll with it.
And I think also you have to remember that the UK has a very long institution of art that is pretty behind. Like, it's much better. It's much better now. But at the time, it's still very... it's quite pretentious. Like, basically, I left university thinking that I could do whatever I wanted. And when I left, I realized that there was a whole world of art that basically expected you to be a certain way and to do certain things.
Yeah,
and
kind of ridiculous, really.
Yeah, I kind of almost rejected it. I was kind of like, this is not the world I want to be in. I don't care about fancy openings and sipping wine and having like really rich clients. Like for me, art was about sharing and not about like, you know, one person gets your work and stuff like that. And I think the thing is that like what I was doing also didn't suit that world. And I just ended up being like, you know what, I just ended up being very jaded really quickly after university.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I ended up deciding to try some community art and some design work. And it was only when, the financial crisis happened. And I was supposed to do a PhD in art, basically. And I thought that 4 years of my life was set in stone for 4 years. And just before that, I found out that we'd basically were in massive debt and I couldn't go. So me and my husband, we decided that we would pay it all off and we would sort it out. And we did. And, you know, we were actually quite lucky comparatively to a lot of people during the financial crisis, paid off the debt. But then I sat back. And I was like, okay, so what the hell do I do now? Like, you know, I thought I was going to be doing a PhD. And then I'm like, well, what do I actually want to do then if I'm not doing that? I guess it was a bit like, you know, a lot of people have come across that like during the pandemic as well, right? You know, like people are like, oh, I thought I was going to be doing this, but now what do I do? So I guess in some ways I had that kind of realization back during the financial crisis. And so I realized that I loved illustration. And so I started learning how to illustrate, because even though I went to university, it was photography. We didn't learn how to draw and paint.
Not foundational stuff. It was just basically...
it's all theory.
Yeah.
Theory, analysis, and learning the business. I mean, if you want to make it in like the arts world in a business, you need to know how the business works. And like you were saying, you have to go to those exhibition openings. You have to have those clients in the model that they present to you.
Exactly.
That's how their world works. And there are so many, that world is built by people who are stuck on the teat of making money from that system. And so they are, you know, all they want to really do is perpetuate that system. And they want to get a new stable of young artists out who are making more work that they can then sell off for thousands of dollars and take their 40% from their rich clients.
Well,
It's
exactly.
ridiculous.
I think the thing is that like what I ended up doing is I thought after the PhD thing fell through that I wanted to be an online comic artist because I love online comics, like kind of more like the strip, comic strip type comics. And so I kind of started doing something like that. It was terrible. It was awful, but I still did it. And then I ended up moving to Singapore, and I kind of thought that I wanted to be in comics. I knew a few people in comics, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe that's like what I want to do. Started a comic with my husband, realized that it was really hard and I couldn't be bothered to do so many panels every day. I was like, wow, this is really tedious. And the irony is, for some reason, I ended up finding toys when I was at my first Comic-Con, being a comic artist, and then I was next to Yowie and Wetworks at STGCC, and I was looking at their stuff going, why am I not doing that?
That's awesome.
So yeah, and I think the thing is that I realized that comics wasn't what I wanted to do either. So when I found... Sorry?
No, I was just going to ask a follow-on question, which is, because it sounds like from a lot of your descriptions of like work and stuff like that, it sounds like a lot of your work was two-dimensional. And I feel intrinsically that there is a strong relationship, like as an illustrator, between two-dimensional and three-dimensional work. But is three-dimensional work something you had traditionally studied, or was it a transition that you made at that point?
Well, I mean, I guess photography is 2D to some degree, right? And I always loved drawing and painting as a kid. I just never realized it was something that I could choose to do if I wanted.
But making toys, making three-dimensional objects.
So the reason that I thought about it was that I always loved making when I was a kid anyway. So I loved making things, toys. I'd make my own toys when I was a kid, but I liked more like construction and games. So I'd make like, marble runs and, construction stuff. So it wasn't necessarily figurines and things, but I would always be making as a kid. And then when I saw the toys in the booth, I was like, there's such a strong link between Yoe's 2D work and her 3D work. And I was just like, oh, well, I mean, obviously it's Wetworks that produces them, but like it was such a strong correlation. I was like, well, why can't I do that as well as the illustration that I'm doing?
Yeah. So
I think a lot of illustration, a lot of people who come into toys from illustration have the same kind of thought. I think.
Yeah, I did that. I was like, how do I make the things on the walls?
So you'd already done physical work in the past. You already made three-dimensional objects, and you felt comfortable in certain media, or were you?
Kind of, like just for fun, not for actual work or anything.
Yeah,
I came into it that way as well, Jessica, because I just wanted to make the things that I was drawing up on walls into things, like real things,
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was feeling. I have no idea what I'm drawing, by the way.
That's the best part.
It's an experiment.
But like that's exactly what it's like. It was like I could see that even though like there's 2D, there's something amazing about physically holding something, your character in your hand, and like I'll never get over that amazing feeling every time you make a cast, and it's like, whoa, I'm holding this thing that I've invented in my head physically now in my hand. Yeah,
now it's
that
real.
First pop, that first piece that you pull out of the mold. Yeah, I love that feeling. I love that feeling. And then I hate the feeling of having to clean them all up. But first one.
You're welcome to toys.
So you.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Fletch.
Yes, Chipter.
Sorry. I was going to say we're having some technical difficulties with our internet, but there's one thing I wanted to announce before we log out, if that's okay.
Okay.
We did a 3D print today. Liam did of one of the figures that we're going to be pulling through the injection mold machine, and what we've done is we've had to scale it down. I don't know if you guys have seen these in the past, but this is the hand sculpt of it. And I think it goes back to maybe what you guys were talking about before about making choices, about business choices. Was that something you were talking about, Jessica, before?
Yeah. You got like it's the creating is fun, but at the end of the day, if you're at the end of the day, you can't just produce everything just because it's funsies, Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So like
Yeah.
scaling down the figure was like a really huge choice that Liam and I had to make.
I see.
But also the articulation of the thing, just limiting ourselves to not having articulated legs was like kind of a big deal. I don't know, Liam, are you on this? Can you maybe talk a little bit about that too? But, choices that had to be made.
Yeah.
We were looking for something smaller than like a He-Man style figure, and we came across these gladiator figures. If you remember, like American Gladiators in Australia had a run of gladiators shows, and we came across these guys, and like I've been completely smitten by these toys. Like I really want to get more of them because I love them, and it's just like perfect. It's like it's a good size to hold. It's a good size to play with. They're really like emotive, even though they're super basic. So we've kind of gone for more in this sort of style. So
It's also kind of halfway between 3 3/4 inch, which we're familiar with, and He-Man size figures. So we're still kind of sticking within the choice frame that we feel comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna have to log off now because we're having problems with the internet. It keeps cutting in and out.
Okay.
But, yeah, great to talk to you guys. We'll see you guys
That's a
again
shame.
next time.
yeah, looking forward
great
to
to
watching the
talk to you.
stream afterwards to hear all the things I couldn't hear clearly. That sounded super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
That's
we're
okay,
having
guys.
trouble
It happens.
Content
hearing
for
everything you guys
Well,
are saying.
I hope you guys keep in touch. I'm sorry that you have to go, but like, I really hope that you guys keep in contact.
Yes,
they were-
most definitely.
Okay.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.
This
See
is
you,
not a
Chip and
toy
Liam.
stream without some technical problems.
No. But yeah, sorry. Let's continue with the what you were talking about, Jessica.
Oh, sorry, I actually forgot the question. What was the question? Sorry.
Well, I'm also happy to start a completely new. I think we were talking about the transition between two-dimensional and three-dimensional art, and how you came to find. I mean, my initial question, which we were kind of tangenting on, which is no real problem at all. That was the point. It's just to get some conversation talking. But yeah, look, we for me, like it's always been a tandem thing for two-dimensional and three-dimensional things. They work together, and much like you guys, just seeing those objects come to life, being fully realized, is super, super cool, and that's the most exciting part of the process. Unlike like the marketing side of the process, which is so alien and far from my mind and my world, but it is something, like you were saying, that you need to do. You need to justify what you're doing, the work that you're making as an artist, to be able to practice. But on a good note, I know last week on the stream I was talking about a guy called Noel who runs like a skater Instagram website, but also it came into my space a while ago and was doing these art shows where he would get a bunch of artists from his community, different types, put on some live music and like manage the sales. And he's not an artist himself, but he's very into art and he's very enthusiastic about art. And he came along to one of our This Is Not a Toy Scene shows, and I met up with him just before last stream, and he said to me, "Man, I really loved the This Is Not a Toy Scene show. I didn't know that there were toy artists in Australia who are making stuff like this. We've got online platforms, and you know, we would love to like be exhibiting your stuff online through our platforms, because we think, you know, the people would love the
That's
art
nice.
that you guys are making. It's all kind of in the same vein, like I was saying earlier, like." Skateboard culture was where a lot of lowbrow kind of came out of and gave a kickstart to it. Of course, lowbrow culture has become completely its own thing, but there were a lot of artists who really got their start in the world professionally by doing art for skate companies on T-shirts, on boards, and there's a huge culture of people who paint boards, and a lot of those people, or at least some of those people, will also paint toys. There's this huge crossover there, and I had another meeting with him this week, just yesterday, or just 2 days ago, I think. And I said, we want to talk about the nuts and bolts at another time, but like, show me your platform. And if you are interested, then, you know, we could potentially create some online parallel sales with the exhibition that we have coming up on the 19th of November, so that we can start to get some of that stuff out to like an international market. And
You did that
obviously,
plug
I'd like-
so well.
And I would like to obviously talk to some of you guys about how that's comfortable. Obviously, as somebody who's run an exhibition with many of you and has handled like sales and the back and forth of all of that, you know, I understand what your needs are as a toy maker myself. I understand what my needs are, but just having another platform that's out there to help boost what it is that we're already doing, and hopefully more than anything else, bring in other toy makers, like, because we were all stumbling blind in the world until we found kind of each other through incidental means, and it's been really helpful.
If it's done respectfully to the artist, then every platform is a great platform, as long as there's respect for the artist and their work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk to him this week. On Wednesday, we're meeting up, and I'm going to hammer out some of the nuts and bolts around that, so that
sounds
particularly
cool.
around stock control. So make a sheet for you guys to fill out, all of our participating artists to fill out and say, hey, yeah, here's the stock that's like one-of-a-kind stock that needs to be managed on the exhibition night, or here's stuff that I'm happy to have sold online, and here's stuff that I want to have sold specifically for people IRL at the exhibition. And I think that'll be a really exciting and interesting experiment that, you know, I can guarantee will go forwards and will make for an interesting option in the future to try and just get our stuff to more places.
That's cool.
Because having other people who are interested in our work, who are going to take that out there and do a lot of that marketing, is going to help us a lot, I think. It helps me a lot.
Let us know how it goes. I'm curious.
Yeah. As an artist myself, I'm very trepidatious. Lots of people jump up and down and say, your work is cool, I want to represent you, I want to represent it. So if it's not like absolutely watertight, it's not something that's going to happen. But on that, how do you feel about like marketing, Jessica? Like, what's your experiences with like going from like making the toy to, you know, trying to reach an audience?
Well, I mean, like what you said was very interesting, and I think it isn't like, you know, that's the thing. There are lots of people who have also good intentions. Sometimes they're not good intentions, but sometimes they are. But sometimes it's just not a good fit. So I think it's very good that you're actually considering whether or not it actually is a good fit or not. And as I get on in my career, the more and more I'm actually more picky and more like wary of everything that comes along. Because like maybe in the past I would have just been like yes to everything, like, do you know what I mean? But like as I go on in my career, I like to know the people that I work with a bit more, so it takes me a bit longer to like build a trust or relationship with people I'm working with. I also have to know that they have similar goals and ways of working. So even if we're not necessarily exactly the same kind of thing, but as long as they have the same kind of philosophies and they want the same things. So I really love to work with people that like want to grow the toy scene, and it's not just about like, you know, it's not just about like, oh, I just want to make your product to make money. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Or
Well,
like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. But so taking a step back, I mean, when you first got involved in the toy scene, I mean, do you know artists in Singapore area? Do you know any of your locals? How did you find your entry into it, into the scene in general? How was that first time? Because I guess that's reflective of, you know, the people you want to work with as well, and the people that you surround yourself with.
yeah. So, okay. So, the thing is that the problem that, well, it's not actually a problem, but the thing is, because when I first saw designer toys, when I saw Yowie and Wetworks work, I didn't necessarily think, oh, that's a scene, you know, that's a specific industry or whatever. Yeah. I was just like, ooh, I wonder how they did that. I want to make one. That was literally what happened, you know. Like it wasn't like, ooh, I like what they're making, I should instantly go and find out all the people that make those. Does that make sense? So for the first 2 years, it was mostly learning how to make stuff, and I did that pretty much on my own. But I was very fortunate to meet a couple of people here and there in Singapore and elsewhere. One of the first people I talked to properly was Daniel Yu. Do you know him?
Yep.
He does all the kind of like creepy zombie stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And even though our styles are like pretty much like polar opposite, it was amazing talking to him, because like he is an indie artist, and we have the same issues with making and painting, and so even though our styles are like very different, we had a lot in common about what it is that we're trying to do. And so he was the first person I got to talk to, and I actually met him at a non-geek event. I actually met him at an art like kind of illustration event, which is really weird. So yeah, it just happened to be that I saw his work, and I was like, oh, I'm actually making toys. I actually happened to have a piece in my bag. Like I was just like, oh look, I just made this.
You do I generally always have a toy in my bag for some reason. Does anybody else go around and might have a toy in their bag? Am I the only one?
Yeah. I usually carry a couple of things in my bag.
Oh, you guys do? That was just random for me. I don't normally.
I've usually got something. I don't know why. Like, there's usually something in my bag.
I actually keep thinking I should, because like I always think, oh, there's a photo opportunity right there. Well, oh, I wish I had a toy in my bag.
Yeah,
but like,
should.
Yeah.
I know. I really
You meet
should.
someone and you want to give them something. It's good to give them a toy.
No, I agree. I probably should do that more often. So yeah, I guess the thing is that like in some ways it was locally it was quite natural, but there aren't actually, even though there's a lot of toy activity in Singapore, it's mostly producers actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know much about the scene here. So
I do. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Mighty Jacks.
Nobody
And,
else
like,
does.
and, yeah.
Sorry.
Please explain.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, like, it's really surprising. You might not even realize some of the producers that are here. So there's Mighty Jacks, there's Fab
Wait,
Slab, there's Papa
Oh, wow.
Toys, there's Rabbit, who is kind of more like a collective, but they kind of they have a producing bit. And there's XM Studios. I'm probably missing people now. So as you can imagine, those are internationally known toy people, like producers. So like a lot of people don't even realize they're actually based in Singapore or started here. So but they obviously work with people internationally. So in terms of indie artists, it's still kind of a growing thing. Does that make sense?
Right. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, it's pretty small here too as well, though. So we have a good excuse.
Because in most other places, the toy scene grew from an indie scene into a bigger sort of manufacturing scene. But in Singapore, it's kind of the other way around somehow.
Yeah, because I think that it started from a lot of the producers and the retailers. They started because they love toys. I mean, it is Asia, so it's not like there was a lot of great toys around. So they got to a point where they were like, oh, I love toys so much. Why don't I either sell or make them myself? That's pretty much the story that I've heard over and over from people that have ended up producing here. But like in terms of artistic, from artistic roots, it's only starting to grow now because it's not a very popular career in general. So like, and then toys is like a niche of a niche, so I can understand why it's still taking time to grow. But with the retailers and producers kind of like becoming more visible, they're at the cons all the time, geek life is getting more standard. It's not like so much of a weird thing if you're a geek these days. There's also other like things like I know people slag them off, but for example, like I need to thank Funko Pop because they pretty much introduced like most of the collectors to art toys, so there's a lot of that around, and blind boxes are very popular. Starting to, there's a Pop Mart store here. A lot of places sell blind boxes. So I think that it's just that people just get into those things, and also there are more courses starting. So like because obviously as art is developing, people are teaching 3D more as well because 3D is becoming just a natural part of the art industry, not just toys, right? So naturally, if someone learns how to do 3D, then suddenly they're like, oh, I can print this as well. Like, do you know what I mean? So
yeah. Yeah.
So even if people maybe were more on the like gaming or comic side, or kind of like 3D sculpting on like a more artistic side, suddenly they're realizing that actually they could easily come into toys if they wanted. Does that make sense?
I found the other day, literally last night, I had a good friend of mine around, and we used to and still occasionally like run games together. And while I've always been more in like the arts field and then still doing like writing and running role-playing games, his career has always been in the games industry. And he's now working in a place where they recently bought like $100,000 injection molding machine that they print off resin molds, like high heat resistant resin molds, to do their injection molds for miniatures. And particularly with like all the shipping crises and stuff like that's going on around COVID, and potential also not to mention the overriding like trade war with China that's sort of just going down in the background around the Pacific. Like this idea, and it's an idea that's shared amongst all of us, that we are trying to like take the cottage industry, take the industry back into our own locales of our own countries, and just being like, we can do it, we can make it, we don't need, we don't.
I totally agree with that, because I think because of 3D printing, it's actually started making designer toys more accessible. Because one of the hardest things in Singapore to source is resin. And also, even though, like the thing is, okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Singapore, pressure pots and compressors, they're regulated.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
So you can only get a certain size before you need to start like registering it and having like assessments and stuff. So I know this because like obviously I'm on a visa, so I try extra hard to like do everything right. So I got the smallest I could before it's required to get like any extra paperwork. So it's fine. I've got a very small one. So that's why all my stuff.
How big is that?
I think it's like, is it 10 liters? It's like one of the smallest ones I could find.
Yeah, 10. I think that's the one I've got, or maybe that's big enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't. As an indie person, I've never really to start out with. That was a good size for me. 6 inches is the biggest toy I can get in there, and if I really wanted, I could make it in multiple parts as well if I was really desperate. But the thing is, like, I'm really kind of moving away from doing it myself to kind of working with people and trying to find ways to get other people to make them for me now. So I'm kind of transitioning. I'm in that phase of transition. So I still make some of it myself at home, but I would prefer to kind of to do it out of house more and more.
Yeah.
Can I ask you another question? Can I change the subject a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
How much do you have to do with like the Western art toy world?
Well, that's the thing. I moved to Singapore before I'd even heard the term art toy or designer toy. So what's really crazy is that like it's really funny because like obviously there's like quite a strong UK toy community, but like I've literally never met any of them in person apart from one. And only very briefly. It was John Paul Kaiser. He happened to be in Singapore, I think in the same year that you came.
I met him. I met him that year.
So like that's like literally the only UK guy UK toy maker that I've actually met. And that was like for only like a few minutes.
But in terms of I guess like selling your stuff into that market or just interacting with it as an artist.
I see. Okay, right. I see where you're getting at now. Okay, so you're talking about marketing and kind of marketing outside. So where did I go?
I've asked this question to a few different people that's kind of straddle both worlds about the difference between the Asian and the Eastern and Western market, let's say.
Okay, well, I mean, first of all, I mean, there is quite a difference, I personally think, in the style, like, between the two worlds, firstly. And I'm kind of in the right place for my style because I'm, like, super cutesy and, that kind of stuff. And the thing is, like, that's much harder push in the UK. I mean, there's such a prejudice against cute things in the UK. Like, it's getting better. It's getting better.
I don't know why. Yeah. It's it's one of my favorite styles, so, like...
Oh, yeah. I mean, cute. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, like in the UK, people would be like, "Oh, I don't know why you like cute things. It's for children." I'm like, "Why?" Like, but like, well, if you like it, then what's wrong? I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I
So,
mean,
so
it's
what do you
either
think the style is then? What is the style?
I don't know. It's like it's a bit more edgier, a little bit like
They take themselves very seriously, right?
I'm not. I don't know because like I said, I'm not in the scene. I don't know. I think they're all pretty. I think they're kind of more grassroots. Like I think
Okay.
they do a lot more indie stuff. You know, kind of like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing because in Singapore we got loads of producers here. Everyone's very businessy. So even though we're indie, like we're still thinking about business.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I asked, do you know Grape Brain? Do you know the Japanese toy artist
No,
Grape Brain?
unfortunately I don't. I'm still getting to know people, but I do love their work. It's kind of creepy cute, you know? Like
No, but you know
Yeah.
of them. You know of Grape
yes,
Brain.
of course.
I asked him because I did an interview with him for like an online article, and I asked him that question, and he was like straight away. He said, "Oh, that's easy. That's an easy question to answer. Western toys are big and powerful, and Eastern toys are small and cute."
Oh, Well,
I think it's a generalization because what about some of the Safubi, like the kaiju and stuff?
I mean,
That's not
it's
soft
definitely
and cute.
it's
like...
definitely a generalization, but I just thought that was such a fascinating answer. And that's why I ask that question all the time to different people now, because I'm like, what on earth did he mean by that? Like, that's so interesting.
Well,
He was so definite that was the
look,
answer.
I mean, I'm
think-
someone that's grown up in two cultures because I actually grew up in Hong Kong until I was 16, and then I lived in the UK for 16 years, and now I lived in Singapore. So I've lived in two Asian countries and in one Western country. And there is definitely a difference in the kind of like imagery and culture definitely will affect kind of like an overall aesthetic. So I think like it makes sense that like people who grow up in one place are more likely to be influenced by aesthetic from like, unspoken aesthetic. So yes, while we all come from some sort of kind of pop culture, and often it's, a shared pop culture internationally that we tend to like, there's still going to be like differences within each country from like, do you know what I mean? So like, and it's also the different attitudes towards imagery. Like I say, like in Asia, people don't see cute as being like a weird thing. It's like, it's just part of the culture. It's just part of life, right? But in the UK, no.
Yeah, I think that this actually segues into the topic I wanted to talk about tonight, right? Because I've heard the comments. It's I mean, Western toy culture can be dominated by big robots and like action figures and all that kind of stuff.
And gross out
heard,
stuff, like generally kind of like that 80s gross out kind of aesthetic.
Yeah. And then I heard a comment which was similar to the comment said before, and it's like, oh yeah, but like a lot of the toys in the the Eastern or the Asian zone, it's either cutesy and it's for kids and for girls.
Kids and girls.
Exactly, right. And
That's a classic, isn't it?
Exactly. And it was, to me, I was just like, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, and it's equating the cutiness with a gender. Why?
Yeah,
And
that is a
like,
Western thing, though, isn't it?
It's a Western thing, and it's a terrible thing.
I think it's
And
to
it
do
just
affecting
highlights
somebody-
so many issues in the toy scene as well, like in general, and perception. And I did want to actually mention a toy that Jessica made recently, which was honestly, Jess, it's brilliant. I fucking loved it so much. And you did it for it's a Quix and Mariko custom, and it was
just this weekend.
For Stormy Vault.
Yeah, that's
do you
right.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that toy, because it was so nice. I'm gonna post the link up in the chat.
Where can I find it so I can look at it while you're talking?
I'm just going to post the link up in the stream chat, and I'll post it up in Skype for you guys. Do you want to tell us a bit about how that came about and like some of the ideas that you had behind it?
Right. Okay. So it was quite involved because like it's a really personal piece. So there's a lot of things I'm trying to say with it. Like I don't know why I try to say so much with it, but like it just all kind of came out in one piece. But when I have actually avoided doing a Quix piece in the past, even though I've had people ask me like privately if I would do a like private commission and stuff like that, because like it's quite urban and edgy. It's not necessarily, you know, like obviously my stuff is very cutesy, very kind of, you know, like creatures and stuff, not usually humanoids or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I kind of was like, obviously I'm still kind of learning and like trying to figure out what my style is, but this kind of came at a time where this year I've been realizing that it doesn't matter what I'm working on, I can still bring my own flavor to it. Like the thing is, like sometimes when you're starting out and you're doing customs, the platform can really dictate how something ends up being, because you get intimidated by it. You know, you get intimidated by the platform. You end up kind of trying to fit into what you think someone might want from your custom. Does that make sense at all?
Yep.
Like,
That makes sense.
So, like, in some ways, I kind of avoided doing those platforms because I thought I couldn't really imagine how I could do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it kind of came at a time when I was, thinking a lot about women in toys, and I know it's like, I mean, this is quite difficult for me to talk about in a group full of guys, but I might.
Honestly, I think that's the best audience. That might be the best audience to talk about it. Like, you know, because it's the guys that need to be educated about this stuff. You know, like, and you know.
I really appreciate that you guys like were willing to talk about it, and like, and you're absolutely right. I think the thing is that amongst women, we often talk about it. Like, we don't even need to talk about it a lot. We just go like, oh, it's difficult, right? Yeah, and we're like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we don't, because we know what we're talking. We understand each other.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is that like, it's tough when you're a woman in a male-dominated industry, and I'm sure it's the same vice versa as well. But like, I think that, okay, the terminology that comes up quite a lot when I talk to people is like boys club. That is like the first thing that comes up. And even if no one is necessarily being malicious, I find that as a woman, I have to be a bit more cautious about like who I form relationships with. Like, so even being online is like, I have to be extra cautious, just being a woman online, full stop, right? So like, if you have a random person come up to you and go, hey, let's do a custom together, you know, like, first of all, I'm like, are you a real person? Who are you? I need to go and find out who you are. Like, has anyone actually seen you in person? Are you you know, like, I like, these are all the questions as a woman that comes up for me. So like, you know, I end up having to even like figure out if I can even like trust that the person that's talking to me is a real person at all. And so I kind of like, it takes me a lot longer to kind of to feel confident enough to start approaching people, and I think that women are also held to a much higher standard. I don't know if you guys notice this, but I find, in my real humble opinion, I sometimes see guys doing stuff and I'll be like, it's fairly mediocre, if I'm really honest, and then like there's a woman killing it. She's like doing so freaking well and like getting no attention, and it just drives me nuts. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, there are some people who just fall over themselves for mediocrity, and then kind of like there's these women doing these amazing pieces, but like they just haven't managed to kind of convince people to buy into them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Do you think that might be one of the reasons behind the general disparity? I mean, you look at the numbers, and it is such a male-dominated scene, and much to, I don't know. I mean, I'm coming from a position of male privilege, really, in that I don't understand why, because it's an accepting scene, but I don't see, you know, as being a guy, I don't see that, you know, I don't understand that perspective. And where I come from is the fact that I'm like, I just want everybody to make toys. I don't care what your gender.
Yeah, no,
you know,
I hear
it doesn't matter what that is. But for me, it's a tough one, because I'm like, damn, I want to see more women. You know, like we want to see more people just making toys. You know,
it might be easier to think about it from a different industry point of view, because when you're in it, it's very different. You know, like so if you think about other kind of geek like centric industries like comics or
ball-jointed dolls.
Sorry?
Ball-jointed dolls.
Well, I mean, ball jointed dolls. I mean, that's very female dominated, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah.
It
So
is, yeah.
yeah. So I think the thing is that's like in geekdom, there's always been. Well, I think actually it's getting better. I think that the younger generations, a lot of women are actually getting into geek stuff. But when I was growing up, I was like the only girl. I was like a novelty. Like, people are like, you're a girl, but you like geek stuff? And I'm like, why? Is that weird? Why? Do you know what I mean?
I was a guy and I was into geek stuff and they thought I was weird anyways as
Oh,
well.
well.
So. But yes, it would have been even weirder for you.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, that's why I didn't necessarily go around telling everyone I was a geek. But, like, it was obvious. But, I don't know. I guess the thing is, it's kind of like, but like, I used to find it, like, surprising that people would find that surprising. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it also makes sense at the same time because it was very, geared towards men a lot of the time. Oh yeah, that's it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
love the hair.
The
Love
hair is amazing.
The strands.
And I love the little stop motion you did
gosh.
with the video on this and all the pieces coming together as well.
Yeah, that's what they're showing right now.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. But like, here, let me just full screen this for a bit. So yeah, I think it's really subtle. I don't think you can say it's like one thing. I mean, so I was actually thinking about this a lot. Like, how do you quantify this, right? So how do you quantify like what the problem is when it's that subtle? So, okay, so the easiest way that I've been able to think about it is like I've been very observant about custom show lists or events or guest speakers. So, for example, if you look at like a custom show, I've seen a few custom shows that don't have a single woman on it at all. Or if they do, it might be like one or two, or it might be the same women. So it's not to say that those women aren't killing it and they're not freaking great, but like, how come earlier career female artists aren't given the same chance? Does that make sense? Because the only way to get into toys is if someone takes a chance on you. So I was very fortunate that I had people believe in me, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. You guys had like somebody be like, let's do this, and you're like, okay, let's do it, to have that opportunity, that chance. Yeah. But a lot of younger female career earlier in their careers aren't being given the same chances in these shows. Mm-hmm. So it's so, for example, so okay, the first time I kind of brought this subject up was during Women's Day. I was quite I mean, even though it was something I felt personally, I'd never publicly talked about it in toys. And I saw a lot of people being like, yay, women in toys and stuff. And I was like, part of me was like, yes, it's so great that everyone's talking about women in toys. But then I also worried that I didn't worry. I knew that it would be fleeting. Does that make sense? It would be like, hey, look, we're great. We have women. We love women, that kind of stuff. And we're in our industry. And then they just go back to the way it was prior to that.
It can't just
day.
Be one day, right?
Yeah, exactly,
It's like, it can't just be one day.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing. Like, I think that the guys in the industry have to sit there and think to themselves, like, what can we do? Because, and I don't think that many guys actually think about it.
Yeah, but it doesn't even need to be like a lot. I'm not asking everyone to suddenly be like, you must have X amount of women, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, so, but like the easiest way that I see that there are two ways that are pretty easy, right? One is to think about if you say you do an exhibition, right? Or you do a custom show or something, then you have the power to pick who gets to be in those things, even if you're just doing it for yourself and it's like you're an indie artist. But every single individual has the option to like, to think about who they're actually inviting. Yeah. And or even if someone's like, you know what? Oh, do you have anyone you can recommend? Do you know what I mean? Maybe think I'll mix it up this time. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to say the exact same people every time. So occasionally, throw out a different name that you might not normally,
I see no reason in 2021 why there should be any exhibitions that don't have female representation.
Yeah, you think
it
right.
just boggles my fucking mind to even see that.
But, I mean, that's a really simple thing. That's actually something you can do with metrics. You can see the number. It's there. It's in black and white. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like the thing is like I've been over the past year or so, I've been like when these custom shows come up, you know, they go all over our social media. Everyone's talking about them, linking them and stuff, and like it's glaringly obvious when there isn't a woman in the show or like very few. So that's one way to do it, and I think also like it's also about who in the industry is kind of like influential. And if you try and think about like, it's not to say there aren't amazing kick-ass women doing kick-ass stuff in this industry. There are, and they're killing it.
Absolutely.
But like, if you think about the people who are kind of like in positions of influence within the industry, I find it harder to think of women. So it's about like, where are the female voices at the top as well as the bottom?
In the production and in the influential and influencing and that kind of realm, right?
Yeah. So like, you know, it's not to say there aren't any at all. There definitely are, but they're not they're not always at the forefront, or they're not necessarily given as much weight.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it any better than that. But this is just my opinion, though.
Of course.
No, it's actually really good. It's really good, and it's probably a really good conversation to have at this exact point for the Australian scene.
At this point,
for the Australian scene specifically.
We're still very young, and you know, without, I'm not trying to sound like, you know, like we're tooting our own horn here, but we're very kind of like come one, come all. But that's more due to the fact of the size of our scene at the moment. So there's no gatekeeping at all in the Australian scene at this point. Yeah. But obviously, if it grows to a certain point, then there will be a point where we can't have everybody that wants to be in the exhibition.
Yes,
so,
understandably, yes.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's good to hear this kind of feedback. Yeah, at this point. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I'm sure we'd try, but I'm sure that,
festival.
You know, fingers crossed, there will be a point where we grow bigger than that, right? I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the thing. I mean, the thing is like, to grow the scene, you need new people. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, we have the disparity now, right? Like, I mean, you're on a stream with a bunch of guys in Australia on the stream, right? And yes, we have, and we've got Rachie that joins us, and we've got women in our group, you know, like because we have our This Is Not a Toy Scene group, and we have women in the group and stuff, but they're still outnumbered, and there's still not enough of them. And I would love to see it when we're doing an exhibition that at least 50% of them are women, but. You know, it's like all of us didn't know each other, you know, before, you know, maybe 2 years ago when we started, you know, we all thought we were living in a void, right? So, as Australian toy artists. So, I mean, maybe the artists are out there, but they just don't know about us, and it's you know, we're still in that void kind of thing. So, I mean, there must be ways that we can encourage and try to, like, you know... I mean, I try to... I mean, you know, I make YouTube videos, do tutorials. I just want to teach everybody. So I think that individually, all of us can always just encourage and try to make that...
Yeah, that was kind of going to be my next question as well. Yeah. So there's like... Yeah. What Jessica's saying is there's like a structural barrier for women that are already in the scene. But there's also... I mean, we know just from our scene, there's also some kind of barrier to them even... entering in the first place.
Yes. That's how I feel. Because like the thing is like I'm the kind of person that I'm kind of one of these people that will just do things and I don't actually care what people say. So that's how I ended up in toys. Like people are like, "Oh, what did you do? Who did you know?" I was just like, I just woke up one day and I was like, I want to be a toy maker. I just kind of like, I'm gonna make toys, and then I changed my title because I'm a freelance artist. We can call ourselves whatever we want.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the thing is so I was doing it for 2 years before I got into it, but the challenge came when I went from doing it myself and being local to trying to get out there into the more international scene, and that was tricky. And I'm sure that you guys are also at that point because you guys are also, as your group in Australia grows, you're also probably finding this same challenge as well.
Yes.
So I think the thing is that like when people who are in the scene who were already established, they have all their friends and their groups and their niches and that kind of thing, and like so like as someone who's new and coming into it, it can be harder in general. But if most of those people are men already, that makes it hard. That is why the barrier is difficult, because if you don't have the in, or you don't have it, like, what do you do? What do you have to do to get in? And so one way is to just try and make friends with those people. No, I'm not saying that that's how you should go around it, but you know what I mean? You network and you build the relationships. Sorry, that's what I meant. I didn't mean it. It sounded much worse.
No. But I understood your intent.
I didn't mean it that way. But, you know, you have to, like, it takes time to build relationships, especially if they're already established, right?
Yeah.
But, like, the other way to do it, and I think you guys are already doing that, is to be kind of like, well, never mind about that. Let's just do our own thing. And then you kind of build something on your own. Because how do you think they did it? They did the exact same thing. They were like, no one in art thinks we're real artists, so let's just prove them wrong and we'll do it. And then they paved the way for designer toys, and I have a load of respect for that. And that's what people are continuing to doing. But, like, also with you guys, and, like, that's how I also feel. Like, I feel like I end up trying to kind of, like, move forwards with people that also are at similar stages, or like we have the same kind of goals and we have the same kind of issues, and you kind of like grow a network naturally, and then sometimes those networks end up becoming like movements. So you guys, like, ironically don't call you guys call yourselves Not a Toy Scene, but essentially that is exactly what you've created.
Yeah, we understand the irony.
The biggest reasons for that is because we can't be toys. We have to, exclusively on all of our packaging, we have to state that this is not a toy. Because
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, it's an Australian law thing, right?
Oh, really?
I'm very surprised you don't have to do that in Singapore, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a law. Basically, you have to state that it's not a toy because toys are regulated.
Yeah. It's intensely regulated.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's kind of where it came from.
I mean, toys are regulated in a lot of places, but most people just say not suitable for children or something.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like that kind of thing. So I do put that on. Like, not suitable for children. Actually, in fairness, I do say this is not a toy, but I just kind of did that anyway because I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, just to make sure.
I
Slight-
didn't realise.
slight-
That's an Australian influence. The name. That's so interesting.
Yeah. So we're also we are trying to, like, we are obviously, you know, having met you, being really inspired by your work, and just reaching out to you, and like we're blessed to have you even respond and be like, hey, yeah, I'd love to be on your stream. It's so great to have, like, you know,
Absolutely.
amazing, because we all know so many amazing female artists who are working and locally. And for me, like, I'm like you, I don't really know that many people in the toy scene, and the ones I've met, they are these dudes in these dude circles, and I'm like,
Dudes in dude circles. Can I call you?
I'm not sure if that's the kind of.
I don't want to be in a dude circle.
Yeah, dude circle, unite.
I don't want to be in a dude circle.
Too late. Well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. But you know, it's also hard. Like, people have lives, and so it's like, while for us it's like we've made a conscious decision to, like, be here on Monday nights, every Monday night, like, making stuff regularly because it's good for our practice to, like, make sure that we're sitting down and doing it. Like, we're also trying to invite all of our cool female friends along to come and hang out, and you are one of them. I'm gonna get my sister on in a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
So we have a Discord, and we share the Discord out, and we say, look, anybody who wants to come and hang out in the Discord. Yeah. And we had a new member, Jen, come on, and she just dropped a comment, and she said, yeah, sometimes as women, it's exactly what Jessica said. We vet who we make contact with, especially in real life, and it's so hard. Yeah. So, but you know, Jen, you're always welcome. So, you know, but look, you know, it's not just
like Jen on our fucking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's get Jen on. Let's get Jen on one time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just you know, we're a gender diverse world, we're a sexuality diverse world. There should be no barriers put in place by old school people that don't, you know, like, it's very frustrating. But I love that we can have conversations about it, and I love that as a man I can hear the opinion of a woman that's in this scene that goes through this kind of thing and can actually, you know, educate me as well. Because for me, that's important, because I want to learn. And I want to learn how to be a better man in this scene by not being such a man.
I think
Does that make sense?
You're just outside of a flesh sack, pushing yourself around the world. You know, you're not a man. You're not anything. We are not gender.
Yeah.
We are sexuality.
I don't want to define myself by
flesh
that.
sacks, pushing those flesh sacks around.
Yeah.
No difference.
I think that's the thing though. Like I think the fact that you were even willing to have the discussion, like, meant a lot to me, because the thing is, like, actually, we don't talk about it that often in public, because it's a difficult conversation to have. I was like, when I did that piece, I was freaking out. And the thing is, like, the crazy thing was I started it back in like 2 months before the event, and then I finished it a month before the event, and I was freaking out because I was like, I'm going to be talking about a subject that no one really wants to talk about, and I'm going to be talking about it. It means so much to me because I feel like sometimes women are quite voiceless. So I think the thing is that, like, and also because the thing is, I thought it might be a career ender, like, as well, before it came out. You know, because this.
I think
like,
you would find you would have a lot more support than you
And I
realise.
think the world is more ready than ever to be having that conversation on more platforms. And even if the world is not ready, at least we, in this group, in this community, are a community that wants to have that conversation and wants you to be heard, because your stories are universal.
But I really appreciate that, and I think the thing is that, like, I think that's also why I did the toy, because I think it was time. It was time. It felt like the right time to talk about it. It felt like the right time to, like, that this industry is changing already. I honestly believe that there's already positive things happening, but I also think it could be better. And I think it's also at a time where I wanted other women to, because, like, how do a lot of people get into toys? Okay, some people go in from illustration, but a lot of people get into toys because they're collectors. They collect,
That's
right?
true.
And so, like, the thing is, like, if you're starting to see more women who are like, you know what, I'm a woman, I'm a designer, and I'm here, and I love it, and I want you guys to love it too. I want other women to love this, right? And so that's why I did that Mirako piece, because I really wanted to have that message, like, look, I'm here, I am here amongst other top designers as a woman, and I'm proud of that, and I want you guys to do it too. And so that's kind of why I did it. So, like,
that is also a really good segue, because we haven't done a top list yet this week, guys. And usually we'll do a
Yeah,
so this
I'm
one's
excited. I came
this one's a
prepared.
really good one, and a very no-brainer. Let's talk about who are some of your favorite women designers at the moment, or just women in general that are doing amazing things.
oh
in
no,
pop
you're not going to
culture.
ask me that, are you?
You don't need to. No.
Because I know too many for it to, like, for me to be able to make a list.
You can
So,
be exempt if you want.
We all get 5 minutes and you get 15.
Go ahead. I'm actually curious to hear what you guys think. Actually,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear some of the females that have been like, that you kind of inspired by, or like whose work you guys really like.
Fletch told me about this before, so I came prepared. So do
That's
you mind
okay. That's okay. That's cool.
Is that all right, Fletch?
Yeah. No, go for it, man.
So, I mean, I don't know if people know, but one of my other hobbies is books. I have a crazy book collection, which is terrible whenever I have to move house, because I have to move about 1,000 kilos of books with me.
Have
but,
you ever been inside my house before? You saw my
I have
house, right?
been. I have been inside
Oh
your
yes.
house.
Okay. All right.
In fact,
Continue.
yours probably would rival mine. But yours is like all science fiction and fantasy novels, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I know she's come up a bunch of times on the stream, and I know a lot of us here are really big fans of Junko.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
She's I mean, she's just done so much in art in general, but also designer toys. She's kind of crossed boundaries a lot, really.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, she's considered the the founder of this specific style of art, which in Japanese is called abuna kawaii, which means cute but dangerous.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So,
what was it? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cute but dangerous?
Cute but dangerous. Yeah. And here's
very
another
appropriate.
art book I've got of another female artist who also does a lot of crossover toy stuff, Tara Mcpherson.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, I love
yeah,
her.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm a fan of her stuff.
No,
Tara, yeah.
jump in. Let us know. You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, actually, she was one of the first designer. I bought a few designer toys, but like, you know, they're very expensive. So.
Yes, they can be.
Yeah.
Although I've just noticed that the foreword on this book is by Tim Biscup. Because they couldn't find another. Female artist to write the foreword.
But I actually was in a shop in Singapore called Mike Ozzo's. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
I know
but,
that shop.
Yeah. So he sells a lot of designer toy maker stuff from all over the place, and I was in there and I had my eye on one of those skull flowers for ages, and I also liked another one. It looks like a water monster coming up. I don't know how to explain it any better. I don't actually know what she calls it, but like it looks like a water monster. And then I took them both to the counter, and he goes, "Oh, you do?" Because I was really new to toys as well, so I at that time I didn't actually know who anyone was. Like I didn't know who anyone was. I literally just went for things I liked. And he was like, "You do realize this is actually by the same artist?" I'm like, well, that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I like her aesthetic is something that I really, really love. So, you know, that's a good pick. I like that one. That's a good one.
So, Andy's not here. Yes, no, maybe he's not here tonight, so he can't play his little sting there about.
The Godzilla sting.
AJ mentioning Godzilla, but I have this Godzilla book here where they had different artists do kind of like interpretations of posters of the different movies. And I'd never heard of this artist. So this is kind of like my out-of-the-box pick. I'd never heard of this particular artist before, but she did this absolutely amazing poster for Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, in this kind of Azteca style.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, go and follow. Her name's Mona Robot. Go and follow her Instagram. It's amazing.
Wow.
And as a really weird coincidence, she's just started making resin sculptures.
Yes.
Yeah, of this style of, you know, her style is so unique and so great, and she really does this kind of like kaiju-y kind of really cool stuff. All right, last one, and then I'll shut up.
No.
But this one's important
This is
to
great.
me.
I didn't know this artist, so when I hear new ones, I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, go and follow her. She's amazing. This one's really important to me, and I have a great big box of this particular artist's work. Not because I'm a collector, but because I happen to be storing her stuff in my garage. And this is Wendy.
Oh, yeah.
Olsen.
Oh, wow.
That's Wendy's. Yeah.
That is awesome. They're like
I
so
love them, but they
detailed,
creep
but
me
so
out.
creepy. It's like
I know. I love them, but they creep. There's something intrinsically.
Oh yeah,
the
no,
teeth.
they're super creepy. But sometimes, you know.
Yeah, they're
it's
super creepy.
It's like super
I'll
creepy,
try
like
and
the
find
best way.
I'll try and find one of her big pieces.
Yeah, I love Wendy's
She
stuff.
also does these dino cats. She has a whole series of these little dino cats.
And she keeps promising to come on the stream, but she hasn't quite made it.
Yeah, she keeps promising, but the bullying's not working.
Wait. Can you show me the Dino Cat again?
Oh, the Dino Cat's awesome.
The Dino Cat's here. So these are just like
That's
$2
awesome.
store dinosaur toys.
Yeah,
And then she
I see.
sculpts the heads onto them with I think it's epoxy,
That's
and then
awesome.
just repaints them. And they're just amazing.
Nice.
My little girl absolutely adores these Dino Cats. She loves them. And she makes bobbleheads too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's great.
Wait,
She's usually
is she an Australian artist?
Yes, she's
She is,
usually in
yeah.
our show.
She's an
She's
Australian artist.
she's in the This Is Not a Toy Scene group.
She's one of the core members of This Is Not a Toy
Yeah.
Scene. She's just never been on the actual
I
screen.
have a feeling I might already follow her, but I'm not sure. I'll double check. There's that. Wow. I mean that. Oh. I love people that do creepy stuff. Like the thing is, I can't do it. Like it's not in my DNA to do creepy stuff. But I appreciate it when I see other people do it.
You
when
know,
other people
actually,
do it, I love it.
She'd be a really interesting person to talk to about because she does quite a bit of cute stuff as well.
Yeah,
So
you can see
she
the influence.
Yeah, like that's quite cute, and like you can see like this little like it's kind of
Yeah,
a baby.
her stuff's
Yoda
absolutely
thing.
cute. Just the teeth
Yeah,
freak me out.
and she does these sort of little things. They're sort of cute, but then then she kind of does these things as well. And she's found that she has to actually run 2 Instagrams. Because
Really?
She can't appeal to both the audiences at once.
Oh, that's.
She said that she got a lot of people that followed her that wanted to see her cute stuff, and then she'd put one of these weird butt teeth things up. she'd lose hundreds of followers.
Oh, really?
Oh my god.
All in one go. Yeah. So.
The thing is, like,
That's kind of ridiculous.
It is kind of interesting. I mean, like that's a whole interesting other topic about audiences and getting known for one kind of thing and then like trying to do another thing and then like that's an interesting topic in itself.
Oh yeah, street art and toys doesn't always mix.
Yeah, so I'll go next. And like there, I think big influences for me. It's not an artist, but it's the company that started documenting all of the Harajuku street fashion through the 90s and did the Fruits magazines.
Oh, they did Fruits?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I love that. I used to play those books.
I just love obviously they incorporate, like, there's lots of different designer toys and kids and just doing different fashions, all kinds of different looks. I obviously, I like fashion magazine. I said this like last time, like toys are so much about a person or a creature or they're more than any other form, a form of figurative art, and because of that, what they are wearing becomes so much of what it's about. But one of my recent female artists is Rap 1930, RAP 1994, who is online and is doing 3D sculpture, exactly the same process that we're doing, to make toys, but they're doing ball jointed dolls, and they're doing these really amazingly physically diverse ball jointed toys with not just like cute animal heads, but like amazing, like some with like just amazing thighs and different shapes and different sizes. And she also does like toys that are just like standalone kind of little figurines, as well as doing the ball jointed dolls. And
yeah, interesting.
But she's in that ball jointed doll world. And then 2 other female artists who are 2-dimensional artists who I love and follow, whose work is constantly coming through my Instagram feed. Plums to Peaches, an illustrator, amazing. I really love her work. She does lots of really amazing 1980s inspired, Bubblegum Crisis power suit stuff. Like Plums to Peaches, if you look her up, like some of her early anime.
Wow, I haven't heard that name in a while. Bubblegum Crisis.
Bubblegum Crisis. It's a flashback.
Yeah, it is a flashback. I suddenly remembered myself in university.
Yeah, we were all
3x3 Eyes, Bubblegum Crisis, Dirty Pair.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the kind of era, like even like Robotech, like Uncross stuff, like similar kind of era stuff. And then, sorry, I had them up and then I just lost them. I'm really bad with names. This is why I'm thankful for Instagram, so I
I'm
can just
terrible with names.
keep remembering, keep a constant sort of visual record of who these people are in my lives. But Stephanie Priscilla is an amazing sort of vaporwave artist who does.
I love her.
Really just beautiful kind of semi-sexy, semi-edgy, sort of just slice of life stuff that is just really evocative and takes you to a place and to a time.
Really hope you guys are going to link these somewhere, because I'm never going to remember this. Or I guess I can come back to the stream. It's fine.
I think we'll commit it and I'll
we can drop it in the Discord or
in the chat.
And then finally, Takatoy, 999 on Instagram. That's TAKATOY 999. Who does really, I think she's a female artist. I mean, like, stop me if you heard this one, but I'd be really surprised if she wasn't a female artist, because so much of her subject matter is just very intimately strikes me as female experience or female perspective artwork. It's very internal, it's very internalized, it's beautifully reminiscent of a cross between that guy who's the original Final Fantasy artist, who I always forget the name of, but everyone else knows because he's super famous. And it's cross between like his kind of early work and the work of very traditional sort of Japanese woodblock artists, and a lot of the evocative techniques of that later era of woodblock techniques, like the people who are working in the late 18 and early 1900s doing really wispy lyrical lines, very highly descriptive images that were often incredibly visceral. And so she, Takatoy 999, just has...
Sorry, how do you spell it?
TAKATOY 999 on Instagram.
TAKA 999?
No, TAKATOY 999. Takatoy.
Awesome.
And just the pencil work, and for me, because line work is so much of my life and my illustration, the mark making process, not just in two-dimensional art, but also in the actual like implementing of like a sculpture.
Totally. I mean, that I've spent like the past year trying to make techniques where I can have more 2D sketchy feels on 3D stuff. So I totally understand you.
That work that you were showing us before, it looks like the way it presents in a two-dimensional photograph is as if it is.
I totally fool everybody all the time. Like,
it's great.
All the time. Like, it's not in real life. Honestly, it's not as trippy as when it's in a photo. But like it is literally an illustration on 3D. It's just that the canvas is 3D. So like, but I totally understand. It's like I understand where you're coming from. You're trying to kind of get that kind of feel into your toys. Like, yeah, I totally get that.
But also, and not to gush over our This Is Not a Toy Scene unique artists, but like shout out to freaking Minty Moss, who was not mentioned. Obviously, I was going to mention Wendy Olsen, but Minty Moss is amazing. Heidi Rathbone, who does Rathbone dolls, hand stitches like amazing monster dolls and sort of regular cool punk dolls. And Rachie Renee, who's an amazing two-dimensional, three-dimensional artist who just creates, a wonderful world, Rachie's Toy World.
Yeah, I've seen her on some of the streams.
Yeah, she's they're all good people, and we are really lucky and really empowered as a community to have those people in our environments. I
think it's really great, and I think if you keep that in mind, you're definitely it's gonna be fine. I don't think you're gonna struggle with having like more women, drawn to your scene, because like if you're just genuinely more open, it will come across. It'll just naturally come across. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what, Jessica? I think it's extremely valuable to hear your side of it, and I know that like a lot of men, I can only speak for myself, but like when I hear about things that are barriers that men have created, my first thought is, I would have never done that. Like, and I think we're all not that we would be in denial of it, but we might be clueless about the barrier at all.
We're in a bit of a bubble because we are not generally those kind of people, like.
But I think if the fact that you're even suggesting that you might not know is like half the battle. Do you know what I mean? Like the problem really that women come across is when we're told that there's no problem, and that happens a lot. I get told that a lot, like, oh, there's no problem, and it's like, and so I think that if you're even talking about it, if you're even thinking about it, it means you're already taking steps to do better and be better and to make the whole community better. But just what I'm getting at, like, so you're already the fact that you guys asked me to come on and you asked me if I wanted to talk about this, especially with the piece that just came on the weekend, I have total respect for you guys to even talk about this in public. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was worried about
before when you were talking about how that there's mediocre men and then there's women that are doing really good work that I struggle to get
really
the
harsh
attention.
that I said that.
No, it's true though. It's true. And like I saw a Facebook comment thread in my head of some, clueless guy saying, "Oh, this got nothing to do with gender," like because they can point out some outlier example of like a really good man that's also not getting attention in the scene.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's very difficult because it is true. There will definitely be men as well not getting their due course, the due attention that their skill, dictates.
But
and
we
I think
have privilege. We have a certain privilege.
That's the thing. It's kind of like, it's like, I know it sounds really stupid, but it's like, it's a confidence thing. So if a guy goes, I'm freaking okay, again, I'm generalizing, and it's just my personal experience or based on people I've talked to. Guys are much easier at going, you know what? I make toys. I'm freaking awesome. Buy my stuff because it's great, and I love toys. Let's all buy toys. And so obviously it's very positive and it's great.
So bad doing
but I often don't find women doing the same thing. Going most of the time, we just kind of go, I kind of make toys. I hope you like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like there's a timidness because we don't necessarily present ourselves in the same way. Maybe we're not as loud, or maybe we just don't feel confident enough to put ourselves forwards. I know for me, on a personal level, it's taken a lot of people's encouragement to get to even this point. And even now, I'm just like, oh no, I suck. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, no. And I need people to help me to feel comfortable. And I'm really thankful for everyone that has made me feel comfortable and make me feel worthy and valued.
I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and your work is awesome. And you are one of my favorite female.
Oh no,
you are one of my favorite. You're one of my favorite artists in general. Like, I love your work. No,
thank you.
But your work. The reason being, Jessica, is because your work has an honesty to it. Like you're not pretending to follow that. It just has this honesty to it. And in artists in general, and I know a lot of artists, it's the ones that have honesty in their work that I gravitate towards. I don't generally gravitate towards people that do flashy, or do all those things. I like the outliers. I like the people that are actually just being honest with their work. And that's what always struck me about yours. So you're my first pick.
Oh my gosh! I'm your first pick.
What do you want?
Oh man!
But there's no scale here.
compliment.
There's no scale. It's not like these are the It's
No,
not like
sorry.
a thing.
I know. I understand.
Yeah.
I
No,
understand.
I think this conversation, we're not talking about, hey, these are female artists we know, because we know so many more female artists.
Oh,
These
yeah.
are artists who literally inspire me to make toys, to make
Same
work,
here.
to make clothes, to
So-
see the world.
I have a so my one of my next ones is I have a really good friend of mine, and we've been friends for a very long time, and her name's Jazz. She goes under the name of Mishap, and Jazz is a graffiti illustrator, street artist, and all that. But she just inspires me with her work, and her work is beautiful. She just did this piece, and I'll try to put it under the camera. She did this piece in the laneway just recently. That's not gonna work.
I hope you link that.
Yeah,
I'll link that. But she just,
I like the colours.
yeah, I will. I'll link that. She just does it. It's just beautiful work, and it's hers, and it's honest, and it's it's non-apologetic for what it is, and her style is amazing, and she constantly works on, just trying to. I don't know. She's just she's inspiring, and as a friend and somebody that I painted with and all that kind of stuff, she's just awesome to hang out with as well. And just she's one of those genuine people, and I love her work. I've always been a big fan, and I own a couple of her pieces, and I'll probably end up owning more. So she's amazing. I mean, in toy world, I love Mumbot, Jade. She's another person whose work is just totally honest, and she's just a genuinely really nice person.
I'm
AJ, you got
extremely glad to hear
ASMR
you
going
say
on.
that.
You know?
Because actually, if you were gonna ask me, I was gonna say her because, like, if I had to pick one, I'm so glad about is that she's finally getting some due credit
She got nominated. Yes, over
for
the
two
weekend.
things. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of her.
Yeah.
Okay, like in full
Me too.
disclosure, I'm actually she's a good friend of mine. So,
Okay, great. Yeah.
So like I'm not
me and-
unbiased in here in this.
Yeah,
in this
me and
situation.
Chipter met Jade at Taipei, and we were in
Right.
booths opposite each other. So
Great.
and just since then, like
Oh no, she's brilliant, and I think that
Yeah.
she's been. This is a great example of an underrated woman in this industry. Like she has been killing it for years. Like seriously.
I got some of her. I got some of her like little shumis here.
You know what, Fletch? I
Yes.
think you
And
linked-
I've customized one, but I haven't.
Yeah, you know, I actually saw you doing that on the stream a while ago, and I was like, yes.
Hey,
Oh no! I lost 2 of the spikes, and I don't
Oh,
know what
no.
happened with this.
But
Obviously,
I
that's super good.
I'm so immensely proud of her, and I'm just like, I feel so. And the thing is, she's not the only woman in that category. I'm glad to see that
No.
there are other people in that category that I know as well, and I just think that I'm so thankful to see other people in that category. Oh, you have one of her originals? Wow.
I
Oh,
started
wow.
following her because of you, Fletch, and then I was like, I saw her exhibit. Oh well, it was I think it was Robots Will Kill and her were doing an exhibit or something, and then
That's awesome.
I fell in love with this and I bought it. Yeah.
amazing.
I think I can't gush about her enough. Basically, I mean, I probably should stop because like, you'll get embarrassed
Well,
after all.
if you want to stop, there was one thing that I overlooked, and just quickly, is obviously my background is also making miniatures, like wargaming miniatures, so little tiny 25mm scale guys, and Trish Carden, who was an original Games Workshop sculptor from the 1980s and made some of like my personal favorite models, and some of them like I'm lucky enough to own and have in my collection. And also an Australian-based female miniature maker who's called Victoria Minis, who is a one-woman operation who just makes so many custom sculpts of. I think she did the Spanish Inquisition miniatures from Monty Python. She did all of these variations on like classic military things in sci-fi, and like got them and not just made them, but sourced like manufacturing in China to do like plastic runs of stuff. And she started, I was watching her for years. She was just doing, because there's in Melbourne actually, there's like a metal casting place that casts metal miniatures, and for years she was just getting one of her custom wargaming miniatures cast them in Melbourne, Eureka Miniatures. If you guys ever want to do small lead stuff, it's a really cool place to do it, like toy guns, accessories, stuff like that. It's
That
reasonably
sounds cool.
accessible. And then eventually just got such a huge following that she was like doing runs of, thousands of plastic models and could afford to pay the money to get the injection molded dies made up.
Wow.
That's
So-
really cool. I'm impressed that she managed to go and manufacture metal ones.
Yeah.
I had one more in Toy World, and that's and this is going back to my love of kind of the cutesy stuff, and I love the platform, but Abiru Ari.
How do you? What's their word? I'm so bad with names. It's terrible.
Abiru, Aburi, and I think on Instagram it's Abiru Ari. Abiru. ABIRU_ARI.
Not sure if I know them.
Korean, but yeah, she's a Korean artist, and she's got a platform called Abiru, and yeah, I love it. It's kind of in that Mariko style-ish kind of like, yeah. I'll post it up. I'll send send that to there. and I'll also send it to the chat in a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, like I love that style, right? Like, so that's one of my favorite styles. So, and I've talked about this and gushed about it before, but I love the Korean kind of folksy, cutesy aesthetic that's been coming out over the last few years in toy designers, and she's just
there's so much great stuff coming out of Korea.
Oh yeah. And she's just a great representation of that kind of vibe that I really, really love. And very genuine person. And you know, it's strange, and we've had this conversation before as well, but like I gravitate toward like personality in artists as well. It really affects my perception of their work too. I don't know if anybody else ever gets that, but I can love somebody's work and I'll love it, and then I'll meet them and they're a complete fucking dick, and then I'll be like, yeah, your work's still cool, but you know, like whatever. You know, like I don't know if anybody else gets that.
It does actually cloud your judgment of someone.
It
Like,
does.
I can't.
It shouldn't.
I'm not one of these people that's very good at separating like the artist from their art. You know, like I'm like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I try not to, but I know that like I just can't.
We all try not to, but we're all human. So yeah. So there's some of the artists that I love. Oh, and I've talked about Martina in Taiwan before.
Oh yes,
and
I love
yeah,
her
Martina.
graffiti style, man.
Yeah, and I know her through graffiti, and we painted together and stuff like that. But yeah, she's recently doing toys and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and,
no, I
and her
follow her.
toys
I
are
like
so
her a lot.
cool.
So awesome. Like I mean, I can't. I would like. She would also make the list that if you'd asked me. So you're actually picking people that I actually would have listed. So.
Awesome. Yeah,
I love her style so much, and her color palette is just like my cup of tea. Like,
it's so good.
It's so lush. It's so amazing.
It's so good.
Like,
you know, like I had so much fun because we painted next to each other. We painted like this little next to each other in Taiwan, and it was just such a fun day. And we were limited to 3 colors, and then we could only use that. And they gave us the colors, and we were supposed to. And I'm like, yep, okay, next time in Taiwan, let's go painting again. And then, you know, we got stuck behind the border for 2 years. But I'm hoping that we get to catch up. So, but yeah, just yeah. I love her work in general.
I love her work. Great artist.
They're my picks. Not limited to, but just off the top of my head. How about you, Nick?
All right. So this entire time you guys are talking, I have this pit in my stomach of anxiety.
Oh no!
Why?
Well, it's just like, oh, I've got to get this list together.
No, it's not on the list. You already did one.
Right. You know, this is important because I feel like my artwork took a very sort of feminine turn about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And one of the, I don't know, I you know, like as you probably, some of you know, I draw in like a manga style. Mm-hmm. And that was what I consumed that for a long time, and you know, that's where my roots are with all the anime that I watched when I was a teenager. But I don't know, I discovered that, of course, I like drawing like women and girls and stuff, but I need more information. And
you've just got heaps.
I sought that from female artists because there's something in the way that they represent women that I want that. I want to plug that in, you know, and I.
You wanted some actual dimension.
Yeah. Realistic dimensions that can happen in real life.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I know. I didn't mean that kind of dimension. I meant like character dimension, like more personality.
Well, there's just sensibilities that I look at it and I go, oh, I would kill to you know, organically come up with something like that. So, huge inspirations. I have a friend, a very good friend. She's an American artist, and then I'll put her Instagram below. Her name is Saxtree. and she draws very doll-like characters, but she has a horror gore element to some of them, not always, but very surreal and beautiful. Like it like hit me real hard when I first saw her work. So I'll put that in there. Obviously, I do love, you know, as Herbie mentioned, Stephanie Priscilla. What else did I pull up from this list? Audrey Kawasaki.
I actually really found what you were saying about how you were inspired by that, like, really interesting.
Yeah, really?
Like, yeah, because, like, to hear someone say that they actually were looking for, like, a kind of aesthetic that women can bring, to me, that fills my heart with joy, because it's kind of like I think that women bring a lot to women characters in general, or bring something to the table that we have intrinsic knowledge of. And I'm so glad that people can see that, and that, you know, they want to emulate that too. And I was really touched by what you were saying. I think that's really great.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I know that, like, I treat it like, I feel like it's a thing I'll never achieve it.
No,
But, and like, it's an exponential
I
graph
get you.
that I'll never touch. You know what I mean?
But I think the thing is that, like, you know, you obviously are influenced and inspired by those things, like, and I think that's really great. I love that. I loved hearing that story. I thought that was wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So
I used to also watch a lot of anime when I was younger, so
yeah. Yeah, that's never going away. So
What do you mean when you were younger? I still watch anime.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I'm sorry. I still watch anime. When I say younger, it's just that it's the only reason I say that is because I just don't have time now.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
formative.
I
just put it on. I've got my monitor here next to me, and I just sometimes just put it on. But I go back into the old stuff.
I can't watch subtitles when I'm working.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
That's why I watch dubs.
No, I do watch dubs as well, but like, there's not actually as many things dubbed as I'd like. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I put dubs on, but I actually don't really like dubs very much. So.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
So let me continue with my list, because I've got so Audrey Kawasaki. Do you know that?
Okay.
Unbelievable.
She should have been on my list, and Nick, you're gonna hate me. But what? I actually own several Audrey Kawasaki prints.
For real? Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I want to see him. Please take a photo and show me later.
You know, okay, I will. I've got two. They're not hung up at the moment because I had problems with hanging, but I will go and just take a photo for you just to show you. Alright, hang on. I did lock myself out of the house. So yeah, give me a minute. Keep going though. But, yeah,
oh, okay. You want me to go off?
I found her many years ago, and I can't remember exactly where. But yeah, but I ended up with the print.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we lost
Yeah,
him.
he's cut. He walked too far and his Bluetooth cut off.
He's gone. He's gone. He's out of it. But no, look, continue listening,
Yeah,
please.
Right. Sorry. Okay, so if we're talking toy-related people, I would like to draw your attention to two masterful sculptors that I can't believe. So one is called Seriously Silly K.
Oh, yeah, she's
She's very good.
amazing.
She's a great sculptor. And obviously her paintwork is obviously really good too.
Yeah. That's, I look at that and I think, like, that's humanly
It's another level, right?
if that's humanly achievable, then that's the standard to shoot for. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I couldn't believe the
Very
the mods that she does on those the twins from The Shining, that toy. And she totally modded the faces and
Yeah, she made little like fawn deer characters, right?
yeah. Wait, Fletch, your sound's cut out.
Yeah, I know.
Oh wait.
All good now?
There.
Okay, let's see if... Okay, so this is one of her earlier pieces, Karamari.
Yeah.
It's not
I can vaguely make it out. Is she like just a bust? And there's like.
By the way, if anyone is watching this, we have a Discord. I'll
put it on Discord. She's got the tentacles coming out of her head. But the other one that I've got is this one here. But yeah, I'll put it on Discord so that you can see properly.
Yeah.
But she's got doves. And I've got another one called She Who Dares, which is a black one, but it's not framed and stuff. But she, and you know, I didn't think of her work, but she has been highly, not so much in toys and that, but in art and illustration wise, very highly influential, and not in my, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't have her influences in my work, but her aesthetic is something that I really, I don't know, it impacted me in a pretty deep way. You know?
Yeah. Especially, did you see, because she's a new mother, did you know? She drew this one of herself with her daughter.
I think I saw that one.
Oh man, that blew me away, that one.
Yeah, it's beautiful art.
And it's like yeah. So I was just talking about Seriously Silly K just a moment ago while you were walking around. So masterful sculptor, masterful painter, and another one that in that same sort of field is someone called Tina Yu, and she uses epoxy sculpt. I'll put her Instagram here.
I'm gonna have to seriously get these lists off of you. Seriously.
I'm putting it in the chat right now so that you can
I'm gonna have to collect all of these for afterwards. But I'm very curious.
These are just her methods of I'm actually a Patreon subscriber to her.
I see.
How good is Patreon? I think it's really good. Like if the artist does it properly, I think Patreons. If the artist does it properly, Patrons are amazing.
I thought that was a question. Yeah. Yeah, so look at the faces. Do you see those faces?
I just recently followed this artist.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, just very recently. I saw her bunnies on my feed.
Yeah, God.
And I was just like, whoa, that's absolutely insane. Oh, okay, sorry, I've started going to the links now. Like, I wasn't going to the links before, but
no, that's all right. Wait, which one are you talking about? Recently followed the artist.
Tina.
Okay, yeah. Tina Yu.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just saw her just randomly pop up on my you know the Instagram bit where it has suggested stuff, and I was like, what is that bunny? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the thing. I actually know more people by their work than their name. I feel really bad. I feel really bad about that. Yeah, no, that's great. They're great.
Tina Yu. That's some really cool work.
Yeah, it's incredible, and her sculpting is. I learned a few tricks. That trick that I'm doing tonight with this grafting the frickin' wings onto this mesh wire, I got it off her. She does that.
Yeah, that's a really good trick.
Yeah, but are you sure you don't want to cast the wings separately?
I will.
Okay, just making sure.
You're going to put them on and take them off?
They are separate, but they need to be flat, and I need to sand them, and I need to make them. I need to make the form as I want them.
You do you.
And then I will cast them separately. Absolutely, we'll do that.
Cool.
I've been looking through some of the links now. Some of them are really good. Some of them I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So like this is amazing.
I'll collate all the links and then I'll
Will
post
you?
them.
Oh, okay, great, great,
and then
great.
I'll post them in the description, and I'll post them in the Discord, and I'll send them to you.
Wow.
Have you had enough?
Oh god,
of my,
you guys are gonna
my
have to help
list
me
yet?
collate the links.
Yeah, just
Had
pop it in
enough.
the Facebook chat.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
we'll reply to it
We'll
with
sort it out.
all the people you
And,
mentioned.
you know, like, it's been really great to have you on, Jessica. So if you
Yeah.
ever want to join us, we're here every Monday night.
You're
It's for
always
us
welcome.
a nice place to hang out and make some toys. It's very, very cool. We are getting kind of to the end of
Kind
the
of to the
sure.
end, I think, almost. So
it's getting on to like a 10:30. So what we'll do is we'll start the slow finish.
so finished.
Slow finish. We are now known for our slow introductions, and as you've been sitting with us this far,
finishes.
you probably know what that's all about. And we will start our slow finishes, and I will do mine first. And I've been working a little bit on my little Maneko and Neko, and it's a little bit more refined, but it was actually pretty close to being finished. I think I'm at the point now where I want to get this in the mold, get out a master, and sand it down, and then do a second cast of it. Because I'm just at the point this is made in sculpting wax, in like sort of art sculpting wax. So it's getting to the point where there's just a lot of stuff that I can't get out of the handling. But I've done a lot more detailing on my little skelly guy now, so you can see he's got chainmail that's visible.
Oh
He's
wow,
got-
he's
Wow.
looking great,
Nice
dude.
detail.
See the detailing on the shield and like on the helmet. I put some dints in
Sorry,
the
so
helmet.
is this wax?
So this one, the first one was wax. This is just in oil clay or plasticine, as we
Okay.
call it in Australia.
When you mold that, it doesn't warp or
No,
okay. So
No.
how would you mold that? Because would you just do it top up? Because it wouldn't be a two-piece, right?
cup mold.
Yeah,
No,
cup
I
mold.
I just sort of
Full
I like
mold.
slice mold with this one. So
Nice.
basically, what I'll do for your reference on screen is I'll pop it on the bottom. Usually with these guys, I'll just pop them, stick them with. I'll heat up the bottom of the plasticine, and I'll just stick them into the bottom of a cup. All right, and then what I'll do, I'll just get like a plastic cup that's the right size. And then what I'll do is I'll pour the silicon slowly from the bottom, and I'll do a high pour. So I'll pour it from like 1 to 1.5 meters up in a slow string, and obviously I'll degas the silicon and throw it in the pressure pot while
Nice.
it's sitting. And
I was
pour
just
it
curious.
from on high,
I just love hearing all
and
that
I
molding.
pour it onto the bottom of the cup, and I never don't ever pour the silicon onto the sculpt. Because that's gonna like start getting the air bubbles like locked in there. You pour it onto the cup and you let it rise up from the bottom slowly. If I have a piece that has a lot of textural work, and I may do it with this one, I will get a brush before I put it in the pot, and I will do an impression coat in the business, and I will paint a layer of the silicon that I'm mixing onto the surface with a soft disposable brush. All over the surface, particularly in the areas where there's a lot of detail. And then I'll take the rest of the silicon and do the pour. And then I'll pop it in the pressure pot and leave it 24 hours. Pull it out. And then what I'll do is I'll have it obviously upside down in the cup. Pull it out of the cup, cut the cup away. And then I'll cut the silicon mold on the outside. And I'll probably cut down to like the tip of these horns, or maybe about halfway on the side. Just one here and here. And
Did
then,
you do that all today?
sorry?
Did you do that all today while we were on the stream?
No,
No,
I think you started
no.
last week, right?
Ah, okay. Wow, you still did a lot. I
few
mean,
weeks
like,
ago,
I'm not very good at talking and making at the same time.
I did do this exact model is the one that I made last stream, and I started it last stream. And I just
Wow, it's
detailed
still
it.
impressive.
So yeah, but like
But
I
it was
said,
nowhere near as detailed as that last stream. It's awesome, man. I love it.
No. So yeah, but you know, I have been walking around with a piece of plasticine in my hand since I was 5 years old. So that's what happens. But you could just do that yourself if you are starting out. If this is your first time sculpting, you pick up a piece of plasticine, just spend hours and hours with the medium. You master a medium, and you can do it one medium at a time. And sometimes you'll find that maybe one medium isn't working for you, and you'll pick up another medium. Like when I was working in plasticine, like it's very native to me. But when I first picked up Sculpey, it was like, my God, this is the most psychically receptive modeling medium I've ever come across. Because not only did my impressions in my mind just go straight into it with the tool markings in the way I wanted it to, but it has this inherent rubberiness and resistance that kind of pushes back and stops you from scuffing it so much when you're just handling it. And that's what I love about Sculpey. But for me, like, clay and plasticine are still kind of my first love. Native, like when I'm doing sketch, and when I say clay, I mean like natural clay. If I'm doing anything that's bigger than like about the size of like half the size of my head or the size of two of my fists, as a sculpture, I will always use clay. And the other guy is just done in a sculpting wax, which is often used in jewelry and is used for like bronze casting. And I'm actually going to get my dice charms done in bronzes, and I'll have a few bronze versions of my dice charms available for the exhibition.
That's great. I can't wait to see
very cool.
those.
Yeah, some bronzes, and if I'm rich, I'll do some in sterling silver as well.
What exhibition are you working towards?
Well, we are coincidentally having This Is Not a Toy Scene show in Melbourne.
Really?
To celebrate lockdown ending, we can have an exhibition.
Is it ended?
Yeah, it's ending. We half ended on Friday, and because we're hitting our 80% vaccination rate this Friday, everything's going to start opening up again. So we can have our exhibition now. This was postponed before this last 2-month lockdown.
But it is done. We're hosting the exhibition, just to finish the spiel before we go back to it. It's called Sensorium in Preston. It's just super exciting because it's a space, an art space and art therapy space that has been set up by one of our very own members, Rachie Renee, who does Rachie's Toy World. And yeah, it's super cool to be having like a space in an exhibition in a new place that's run by people who we know and love, and also
and we will be organising a live. This Is Not a Toy Stream session, live Toy Jam streaming from the exhibition space as well.
That's very cool.
To do it all in person, we will all be in the one place.
Jessica,
okay, but is that on the Saturday night or on the Friday?
I don't think we've determined that yet, but I just thought of the idea, and now it's going to happen because I said it.
Welcome back to a live stream.
I see. That's how you guys roll then.
Yeah.
But that was all. Anyway, I was interrupting, and I was saying, yeah, that's the exhibition that we're having, and we're very excited about it, and so I'm working towards that. But also, Christmas is coming up, and I've recently hooked up with some new distribution people who might be able to get my dice charms, which are tabletop role-playing toys. Let's face it, they're toys specifically targeted for tabletop role-playing gamers because they're not miniatures, they're not tools that you use in the game, they are good luck charms to charm your dice. They live in your dice collection. There's a little game associated with them where you try and knock each other over with D20s.
You have the PR story down.
I'm actually going to buy some of your dice charms for my D&D group from the exhibition. So
I went to play
Christmas presents.
I left because we could leave the house, so I went to play a game of like War Dollies with my friend the other day, and I went to their house, and I was leaving the house, and I just like threw like a handful of dice charms in my dice bag, and then I got to the place, and threw out my War Dollies and got my dice out, and started putting my little dice charms around the place. He's like, "What are they?" And he says, "I'm gonna win because I've got dice charms."
Did you start losing your dice because you had so many dice charms?
Just more dice charms. They need to get the dice charms. Keep your dice in order. They're dice shepherds.
AJ, what have you been working on? I see you with your airbrush out.
Well, yeah, I've had my airbrush out, which is really cool. But I just wanted to show this guy off one last time. I did a little bit of very finalising work on him, cooling him down. So that is it's actually amazing that my Instagram has posters for 2 different shows back to back next to each other.
Yeah,
on my
amazing.
Instagram
That's awesome.
account, which is just it's bonkers considering what we've been through these last. I think we're up to 262 days in lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So does that mean you're going to stop doing online shows, or are you going to continue with the online shows?
That's a really good question. We haven't really discussed that, but
we might do a mix.
I think we'll keep doing it because Nick and Herbie are in Sydney.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do it if we do shows. If we do shows and we're all in one place, then we might do like a live stream. But I mean, but for me, this is my Monday night now. Like this, I got Monday night doing this. I got Tuesday night doing D&D.
Yeah.
So they're my nights booked out.
But Jessica, we also want to do like panels. As we're doing like this hangout, we still want to like when we do This Is Not a Toy scene, particularly like when we get ramped up into the year and we start coming back to Sydney. So I also have an arts space in a warehouse where we do exhibitions and we do like the full weekend of activities. And this is what we usually do. And as a part of that, like we want to do like panels, and we can also have streaming guests and all kinds of like cool people like you joining us for that exact thing. We
also do workshops along with all of our exhibitions. We do toy making workshops and we teach. And a lot of people that are in the This Is Not a Toy scene thing have actually been people that came to the toy making workshops and started making toys. Like
that's awesome. Like I've always had a dream to like set up something like that. But like the thing is it's just space in Singapore is very expensive, so you can't just set up something cheap and to run stuff like that. But
we'll find a gallery.
It's not that cheap here.
For an opening night.
I might be able to help you with that.
Just like set up a couple of workshops in that gallery for like a day or so after. So if you want to do like This Is Not a Toy scene in Singapore, like
well, I mean, to be honest with you, I just don't have the capability of doing it right now. But it's something that I'm hoping to do like later in my life when I'm getting too tired to make toys 24/7. But like no, that's what I'm saying. I think it's great that you guys are doing that. Like I think that is amazing because that is something that I feel that is needed in Singapore. It's just that I just don't have the capability to do it on my own. So like I think that's exactly how you're going to get.
Sounds
people
like you're inviting us to Singapore to run some workshops.
I feel like that might be the case. I feel like maybe we have to maybe we have to do a show up there.
We want to do a show in Singapore.
I know some spaces where we can do shows up in Singapore. I have friends.
I mean, okay, I'm not actually that hooked up. I'm not gonna lie.
I have friends. I know some spaces. I've done a couple of shows in Singapore.
Will you exhibit with us if we line up a show in Singapore? Will you exhibit with us in Singapore?
Of course I will. We'll have that discussion close to the time because it's like what I say to everybody, even people I like the mostest. It always depends on timing. But I honestly believe in toys. Things are meant to happen at the right time.
Yeah, so manifest, right?
So I hope that our timing does align at some point, and I'm hoping that you guys do keep in contact. And I'm really interested to see how you guys are building the scene over there and how you guys expand. And I think you guys are ready to go global. I mean, Singapore's pretty close.
Singapore is close.
Tell us about what you've been sculpting.
Sorry?
Tell us about what you've been sculpting.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean oh god!
Because you actually got a fair bit done.
Tell you what I was airbrushing.
That would on.
All right, back to KO. What were you airbrushing, KO?
Actually, I kind of wish I hadn't. This is kind of an embarrassing story. I don't know why I did this.
I want to hear it.
You did it to yourself.
So yeah, well, because we were talking about being honest in art, being honest as an artist. So I feel compelled to now. So I have these little bootleg Kewpie dolls that sometimes I just paint for fun.
That's so cool.
I just get them. They're like $1 each. And just as like a really snarky joke on Instagram this week, I put this up on my Instagram and I said, "Hey guys, I made a Squid Game art toy." Because like it's kind of, like I'm not a snarky person, but like my Instagram's just been flooded with like every platform toy and every person's toy ever painted up like a little Squid Game thing. And so the embarrassing part is that off the back of that, someone actually commissioned me to do game
awesome
which is actually the girl from the, if you've seen it's the girl from the red light blue light game.
Oh, it is too. Oh, that's
so that's
dude.
just what I've been doing there, just doing some masking, and that'll come together. I don't know.
There is no wrong toy.
I don't know if I'll post it online because I might have to delete my previous post before I before I post that one up online, or just
Make
eat
the
humble
story
pie and deal with
funnier,
it.
though.
But that's officially me selling out, I think. So over to Nick.
Buying in. There's no such thing as selling out, mate. It's always just buying in.
I agree. I'm kind of one of these people that like I get really upset when people say like say an artist is sold out or something, and I'm kind of like,
Yeah, man.
we should just be happy that they're making
Yeah.
a career. Like we're all complaining we don't make enough money as artists, so let's not tear people down who are.
I mean, yeah, I was joking about it, but it's not selling out. It's buying in. You're buying into your art, and you're buying into your vision, and you're buying into something that you enjoy, right? So you're buying in. You're not selling out.
You know, like, I actually don't have that much of a problem. That's why it was a bit of a... It wasn't really... It was kind of just a bit of a take. Yeah, I don't have that much of a problem with people ripping on IPs. Like, I really honestly don't.
No.
A lot of our scene is just that.
I don't
But
think toy artists in general do.
Yeah, exactly. But what I was
think
seeing
we
was a lot
can,
of
yeah.
really big established artists, you know, like people that have massive followings, stuff like that, that were, you know, just getting a toy and drawing a square on its face.
I
You
actually
can be a bit
never-
more inspired than that, I'm sure.
I never do IP that I'm not allowed to do, actually. I'm really straight and narrow. I'm really boring when it comes to that kind of stuff.
No,
but I will live vicariously through people who do Squid Game toys.
If I was to do one, I'd probably do one with a hexagon on its face. You know, just to buck the trend.
Yeah.
Just do a dodecahedron on its face.
Yeah, like a parallelogram or something, you know?
Oh, I was waiting for them to... Okay. My progress report is I've got 2 covered steel... 2 wings that are finished. That, well, I have to wait for the Sculpey to harden. And here's... I can't hold her up with everything attached, but here's the size comparison about...
Oh, very cool.
That's how she hasn't got arms yet, but she will. And then she'll have these wings, which will be a separate piece that you can plug into the back just to make the toy easier to cast and also, you know, assemble it with a tab and a hole in the back, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Is what I'll do. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. It took me a long time to cut through this mesh with scissors and get the wing shape right. And now
sounds like you need a Dremel.
I have that, but yeah, I'll use that to sand the arcs under the little sections when this is hardened.
I like those wings; they're great forms.
Thanks, man. I want to put I was trying to actually use some wire, but I think I'll screw that. Like I won't do it. I'll just roll some sausages and then put some lines. You know.
Yep.
When it's dry though, and sand the crap out of it, so it's nice.
I love designing things with wings, and then I realize my mistake because they're so hard. they're so hard to sculpt.
Wings are hard.
Oh.
Wings, feathers, no feathers, no scales. No feathers, no scales.
Yeah, I don't mind scales because like you can kind of make them quite expressive. They don't have to be like 100% accurate. But like wings, I always spend so long doing them because getting the shape is so hard. Like I spent so long making wings.
Yeah.
I love scales. Have you seen these before? I don't know. You might not be able to see them. The scale tools.
Oh yeah. You were showing that off.
Yeah,
I haven't actually seen those before, like actual scale tools. But I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, but that's cool. I've never seen them before.
I have a question about it, though. Like, quite seriously, what scale are your scale tools?
You can get different sizes. So I've got everything from tiny miniature to big. Like they come really, really small. Like that's a mini scale tool, right? So like that one there. Actually, Herbie, I will never use this, and this is your scale. So I'm going to give this one to you when I see you.
Oh my God!
This is your scale. I will never use this because my toys are not on that micro scale. So there you go. There's a present for you when I see you.
Aww.
Oh,
sharing is caring.
Okay.
What would also be useful though is if you could post a link in the Discord group as to where you get them, because I'm sure
I did, but the Etsy I did last time, but the Etsy store seemed to be down. So I'll go back and check again and see if I can find if it opened again. But yeah, when I went back to look at it, it was closed. So I'll try to find it again. But there might be somebody doing something similar. So.
Yeah. Because like I think that's the hardest
so
thing.
tonight I did this. So I just did the mold for the Tech 63, which I'm just doing some.
So what's this for?
I'm just doing some sample stuff for Quicks. Just some.
Very nice.
Just some stuff for him. So I'm just going to play around with this. It's a little difficult to mold, and I think that maybe this was done with the head separately and then joined because
And then glued on, yeah.
Yeah, because there's an underhang under the chin which you just couldn't mold, right? So what I've actually done is I've actually created a tiny miniature plasticine gate underneath the chin.
Yeah.
And then if I can cast this in one go, then I can just cut that out on the piece, cut it out and sand it. So I think that'll work. I don't know. It's just a test, just to check it out. Otherwise,
did you put a? Is that a cushion behind the head, like of?
Yes, yeah. I put a cushion behind the head because this will pull out. But because the wing pieces, they're quite like fragile. I didn't want to. So. Cool. But yeah, it's just a test. I want to test a couple of different resins on this and just see how it'll turn out. But I didn't want to cut the head off because I got this one from him about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's a like a prototype piece. So if I can not cut the head off of this, then that would be great.
Yeah.
And then and then I went back to doing, and you're not going to be able to see it, but I've just been doing detailing on this, like a lot of detailing on this, and I really need to put this away and not play with it. But I've been having so much fun. So I don't know. Did I show you guys last week that I casted the sails?
Yeah, I remember the sails.
Yeah. So there's a lot more detail. So at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm doing gap filling. So I'll finish filling. This is all the detail I'll do. This is it. I'll come through. I'll fill the gap, and then I'll do the surface art, and then I'll come and clean it up. But I've got to put it away because the other exhibition is coming sooner, and I need to get my my Robo Ayam Kampung painted so that I have them ready for the exhibition in 3 weeks. So yeah.
Oh gosh.
I keep playing with this because it's so much fun. I've never made a vehicle, but I'm going to put it aside.
Those sails look like Voltron toys.
They're actually from a Star Wars toy. That's why I didn't want to use and I found the actual toy. I didn't want to use the original, so I was like, I'm just going to cast those because
good idea.
It kind of went a bit like Mad Max-ish, and I wanted to bring it back to the Star Wars aesthetic, and I'm like, oh, let's just make it a skiff. And then I was like, oh, I've got these. And I hate casting thin things, but it worked, so yeah.
Cool.
So that's what I've been working on.
Cool.
And yes, finally, our special guest, Jessica, show us your progress.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I have literally no idea what I made. I just literally was, because I'm really bad at making and talking at the same time. I find it really, really difficult. So I just randomly made this random thing. That's
it's a dragon turtle.
Dragon turtle, exactly. So
I love it.
I'll finish it and color it for my daily sculpt today. Like I think the thing is that this was the safest thing for me to do, because the thing is, like, if I was doing physical stuff, I knew that my hand would be shaking a lot, and because I really don't like doing anything live. So the fact that I've done even this live is like a new step for me.
We're so grateful to have you on the stream and to do this, man. But honestly, that is so cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, okay.
I love the heart.
I was like, oh my god, this is really odd. But okay, fine. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said, yeah, this was totally
so easy.
So my intention totally to make this. This is like, I definitely wasn't being totally random.
It's alright.
Oh, but thanks so much, guys, for having me on the stream. It was like, it was really nice to get to chat to you, and I think it's something that during COVID, we don't get to meet a lot of new toy makers face to face, even if it's digitally, that often. So actually, it's the first time in a while. So it's really nice, actually.
It was a pleasure, man, and thank you so much for coming on and just hanging out.
Yeah, it was really great to meet you and just be able to ask you a bunch of questions
Yeah,
about your practice, to be
I don't know
honest.
if I don't know if I answered them very well, but like, but yeah, it was really interesting to see what you guys have been up to, and like, I hope you guys keep in touch. We'll definitely keep the door open for stuff.
We
Yeah,
definitely
for
will.
sure.
Absolutely,
For sure.
mate. Thank you
Okay.
so much for joining us. And I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys.
Yeah. And to everybody else in the world, thanks for joining us. We will be back next Monday for another This Is Not a Toy stream. We do not have the amazing Yes, No, Maybe, Goodbye song from Bear in the Big Blue House, and I don't
Next
know
week.
the lyrics, so I'm not going to sing them to you. But we could sing you something else. And if anyone's in the stream and wants to say what we should sing to you, then, go for it. But it's probably going to be something along the lines of la 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 la. Something that's a pop stream, and we'll just
I think you
disappear.
just sang it, mate.
The la la song.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you next week. And thank you again, Jessica, for joining us as well. And that's been This Is Not a Toy Stream, and we'll see you next week.
Next week.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thanks. See you next week.
Bye.